Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Petrogallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Wisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us on another absolutely crazy, action-packed, insane edition of Crime and Sports.
Yes.
And we do have a doozy for you today.
All right.
Dipping back into the brain damage sports.
Terrific.
But for someone who received no brain damage in those sports.
Huh.
Very interesting. This is one of the wilder ones that we've had, so it's going to be a blast. This is, let's do a math equation here.
Fantastic.
This is Kelly Lane.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Kelly Lane will go plus Otis Nixon divided by Jake the Snake Roberts. Okay. So this is, you'll figure it out in a minute. But before we get to that, just want to thank everyone for their outpouring of love and support on iTunes with your reviews this week. Thank you so much for that. Really, honestly, we've said it, 119 times
it's
now.
True.
Actually, in the beginning, we probably didn't say it, but we've said it over 110 times.
Not as much as now, right?
Not as much as now. That iTunes reviews, they are way heavily on the charts for some reason. We're not sure why. We really aren't, but that's how it works. So if you want to help the show out, go ahead over to iTunes, give us 5 stars, and just tell them you're following instructions, following directions. It doesn't matter what you type. It's not for our egos. It's literally only for business. And speaking of business, we have a long list later on of producers, the most fantastic people going, people who keep the show going, people that keep it afloat. If you knew the behind the scenes and just to the extent of it, it really, really is you guys keeping the show going. So thank you. If you want to be one of those fine producers, you can do that very easily by heading over to patreon.com/crimeinsports, and you can make donations there, or over at PayPal, you can make one-time donations using our email address, which is crimeinsports@gmail.com. Also, if you want to follow the show at Crime and Sports on Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff, go ahead and do that. Man, it's we had a crazy one last week. That was wild.
That was amazing.
Anthony Mason was a crazy story.
It's so great.
It was fun to research him because as a guy growing up watching him constantly, did you have any idea all that happened?
I mean, I even knew he was dead, and I forgot it.
That's what I mean. All you remember is I got a story to tell.
And I just found that out fairly recently.
Oh, yeah, and
it
it was
in the last 5
3
years.
years ago he died. Weird, though. It's one of those guys that we felt like a Vernon Maxwell, where you're like, I didn't know that guy got arrested constantly. Like the NBA, I will give them this. They're pretty good at covering shit up.
They are.
When people get arrested, like when I uncover, just looking through these and trying to find people for this show, when I find an NBA player that has 15 arrests, and I'm like, I knew of none of these.
Well, it's
only them. Like I know the football player shit. I know the baseball player shit. It's weird.
But in the 90s, it seems like they got arrested more and talked about it way less. Now a guy will get arrested 2 times in his entire career, and it's a fucking front page story. It's huge.
He has to be doing something interesting back then, like J.R. Ryder smoking weed out of the Coke can in the car. That was the only thing I heard about J.R. Ryder and remembered for 25 years. You know what I mean? Because it was like that was like, oh, that's pathetic. You should be doing better than that.
And it's such a slide from like what you see him with the cameras flashing, doing the stupid dunk.
This is when he was still in the NBA too.
And then you're like,
what?
Is he sitting like shirtless in Timberwolves shorts?
Buy a bowl, dude. Like, what are you doing? Buy a fucking bowl. Get some papers. What is wrong with you, dude?
Ridiculous.
Get some Phillies from the court. What the fuck is your problem?
Go to a nightclub at 4 a.m. That's what Mason did.
He was in the back seat too. Like he wasn't even riding shotgun. Like it wasn't an Uber or a taxi. He was just like he didn't get shotgun, so he was in the back smoking.
Somebody else was faster.
Maybe somebody's called shotgun on the bowl, too. It's like, shit, all right, so who's got a can I can use? Get the pin out, he's poking the top. He's like, God damn, I got to put a carb in this fucking thing. It's so depressing. Well, let's get to someone whose life has turned out even more depressing, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. Yeah, this is This is a sad, sad fall. Okay. Especially, too, let's get right into it here. First of all, it's wrestling, number one, which they're always a fun episode. There's never a dull wrestling episode, ever. But it's not a wrestler.
No.
It's a manager, and it's a lady.
Oh,
yes. It is Sunny. Do you remember Sunny? The blonde,
I do not.
blonde, very attractive manager from the late 90s WWE.
You say Sunny, and I picture American Gladiator Sunny.
Yeah, no. This is hard to explain her, but she's blonde and she was cute in the 90s, and she was everywhere. Okay. And
was she in video games and wrestled in the games?
Possibly. I mean, I'm sure she did. If she was in the game,
she popped in and tripped somebody or something.
She was a manager always, but I mean, I'm sure they made her available to wrestle. I'm not sure about the dynamics of that particular video game. We'll get into the whole thing here. Lots of people.
Shawn Michaels?
Didn't quite manage Shawn Michaels, but she managed parts of Shawn Michaels.
Okay, now see, I guessed that because I pictured her with him. Now I know why.
Okay. So it's Sunny, who was her ring name, her given name, Tamara Lynn Sytch, Tammy Sytch.
Yeah,
and that's where you'll
how you get Sunny.
hear her now. Yeah, Sunny. So it's better than Tammy Sytch, I suppose. Say. But that still sounds made up for some reason, Tammy Sytch.
She should have picked the situation long before the situation.
Sytch. For sure. Yeah. Tammy Sytch sounds like a chick who's got a switchblade anyway. You know what I mean? Sure. Like that sounds like a tough street kid, but she's not at all like that at all. Born all the way back December 7th, 1972. She was born in New Jersey. There's a
oh my God,
she's a Jersey girl.
She could have been the situation.
That's what I mean.
Situation.
Oh, she's a Jersey girl too. I've seen in multiple different places where she's from Monmouth and Freeport, so I don't know which one she was born in, but it really doesn't fucking matter. No. She grew up in New Jersey. Her parents were Raymond and Noreen. At least it's not like... oh, no, that was a different episode. What was it? A Small Town Murder. We had David and Davita. Yeah. We were like, what the fuck? Why? Why is that? How was that?
This is last week.
What? Why is that a thing? But no. Raymond and Noreen. Raymond was a steel worker. He had a fabrication and construction company, a steel fabrication and construction company.
Man.
Yeah, he's a real manly dude.
Very Jersey man.
Very Jersey. He's a drunk, as we'll find out.
Fuck yes.
Which will affect her down the line. As it always does, basically. Mother was a homemaker. She said that her mother liked being a housewife and liked raising the family. She had 2 sisters and a brother, so there's 4 kids here. She lived in a trailer.
Yeah.
She grew up in a double wide.
Okay.
She said she grew up in Old Bridge, New Jersey, was where she grew up, in a trailer park in a double wide.
Are there a lot of those in Jersey?
Trailer parks? Yeah. There's ones in New York and New Jersey. Yeah, it's hard to it's so unaffordable there. Yeah. I mean, back then, I don't know, in the 70s, if it wasn't unaffordable, I'm sure, because people were fleeing New York and New Jersey like goddamn crazy.
But I don't know. Maybe it still depends on how lucrative a steel business is. If a steel business isn't very lucrative, fucking everything's expensive.
That's true.
What I mean?
Yeah.
When you don't have money, macaroni and cheese is expensive.
Well, that's the weird thing she says she doesn't understand why they lived in a trailer. She says, like, I don't get why we grew up in a trailer. My father owned the company, and we had money, and we had everything we always wanted, and it was never like, well, we can't afford that, dear. Sorry. Why the fuck do we live in a trailer
But
then?
maybe if you had a house, you didn't have that.
Right? That's the thing. Yeah, I thought about that sometimes. Like, it's like, you want to buy a house, and it's like, man, if you just stayed in a 1-bedroom apartment, you'd fucking be loaded.
Killing it.
But your home would be miserable. Yeah, you'd have to stuff all these nice things into your shitty apartment, which is no fun.
You sleep on your mom's lap.
Or double-wide trailer in Old Bridge, New Jersey. Either one. Either one of these places.
I mean, looking back, we rented a house when I was a kid for like $600 or $800 a month, I feel like. Yeah. And we still didn't have shit.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I grew up with. Yeah,
we were broke and didn't have
stretching.
Anything.
Yeah, everything was a stretch. Well, she says that she wanted to be. She's the youngest of the 4 too. Yeah. She said she's always tried to figure out why they lived in a trailer. Yeah. And in her adult life, she finally just said, "Fuck it, I guess it was laziness." Literally, my parents were too lazy to move. Like, we could live better, but then we have to pack all our shit and fuck it, we'll just stay in the trailer.
He probably bought that thing while he was actually doing the steel work.
That's what I mean.
And then he bought his own company. He was like, I'm too fucking tired.
Imagine that. Right. Imagine that. You're too lazy to have a better life.
I don't know. You got to sober up to carry that TV down the steps.
Then again, I know people that are like this. I know a guy I swear to God. I know a guy. I used to have this shitty, terrible job, and this guy, he was offered a promotion.
Yeah.
Now, he complained constantly that he didn't have enough money, okay, because we made shit money. Of
course.
And so they offered him a promotion, like a manager, and like a $3 an hour raise, which was like a good chunk of what we were making.
Well, yeah.
Like we were making like $9 an hour, and they're offering him $12 now.
a week.
That's a lot if you're making $9 an hour. But the catch was, normally he got off at 4:30 p.m.
Yeah.
He had to stay till 5, or sometimes 5:15, and he said no. And I said, why?
Yeah.
And he said, the traffic's a lot worse at 5:15 than it is at 4:30. And I went, seriously? And he was like, yeah. I was like, that, but your whole life could be different. You're making much more money. What would be so much better for you? You could get a car that has air conditioning where you have to sit in traffic.
Right.
And he was just like, no, I don't feel like it.
How the fuck far did he have to drive in traffic?
20 minutes.
Yeah.
It was North Phoenix to downtown.
Dude,
it really wasn't that far at all.
It cost you 10, 20 minutes extra in traffic.
That's all.
Do it.
Hey, nope. Laziness. So I get this. I get this mentality, and alcoholism.
You don't get it
into that,
but you
recognize
it.
Yeah, I recognize it. Kind of like a scientist who studies insects.
Yeah.
I don't understand intellectually why they're doing what they're doing.
Right.
I can't go, oh, this is what they're thinking,
right.
but I see the behavior, and I've cataloged it, and I understand it's happening.
Duly noted.
Exactly. She said her dad always walked around with like $500 in his pants pocket.
Holy shit.
Which is an old school thing. My grandfather was a barber, always kept like $2,000 in cash in his pocket.
That's too much.
Always.
That's too much.
But for him, he grew up, his parents were immigrants.
Yeah.
They came here, he grew up in the Depression with an immigrant father who was like a maintenance man. You keep it. That was it. You keep it on there.
Or he's seen heat and he's like, never keep anything that you can't walk out on in 30 seconds flat.
Well, he was at the hospital one time. He almost died, and he was on the table. I think I've told this before. He's on the table, and my father was there, and he's telling him if he couldn't breathe, and he's like trying to tell my father something. He's like, well, what? And he writes down on a piece of paper, scratch, which is what he called money.
Yeah.
So my father goes into his pocket, and he goes, fucking $1,800 in his pocket for some reason. He was scared the hospital people were going to take it. So he's dying, but he doesn't care about that. He's like, get that money out of my pocket. That's what I'm talking about. That's a mentality. Like, I don't care if I die. Make sure they don't get my fucking money.
That's nuts.
That's nuts. Yeah. That's what I mean. So it's kind of a mentality of like a blue collar guy back there of like, well, if anything happens, I got enough cash on me to take care of it, type of thing. Like I could bribe someone if I need to.
That's ridiculous.
Jam averted. Whatever I have in my pocket is jam averted.
I've got at least 2 days worth of funds of actual doing things, and I'll be okay.
I think that's what it is. That makes you feel good, I guess. I don't know.
It feels freedom.
It
I
feels
guess.
freedom. Yeah. I'm going to start doing that if I can get that much spare money. I'm going to start carrying. I need to save up $500 just so I can carry it around always.
Don't say that into a microphone.
No.
Somebody recognizes you in public. They're like, all I need is $500. I'm just going to roll that
all
guy.
the time. Go ahead, I dare you. Knock yourselves out.
Jesus.
Bring it, fuckers.
Well, if you need more than $20, I'm out. Don't roll me.
Don't roll Jimmy.
I won't have it.
Roll me. I'm going to have it. You got to give me a few months though, and I think I can put it together, and then do that, and then we're going to be okay. I feel like, But
$20 is all I'm carrying. That's
$500.
Enough
Bring it on, fuckers.
Enough for a free meal and a $20 tip, and I'll leave.
6'4" and I carry a box cutter. Bring it. I don't give a fuck. I'm not taking my $500.
And I'm carrying a gun with that $20 still.
And he's like, I'm still getting it taken. Fuck. Why do I have this gun? Never mind. Is that your thought there?
Yeah, my gun's worth more than the pocket change.
That's true. They just end up stealing your gun at that point. Never mind the cash. Give me that gun. Yeah. Fuck.
All right, here you go.
And hold it on him. So, she said that her father would send her to the store to get a gallon of milk, and he'd give her a $50 bill and tell her to keep the change. Shit like that. So, like, that's nice. It's not like they had no money.
Right,
that's what I mean. It was like, they were like she was the kid in the trailer park that had the good toys. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, your mom must be a really successful prostitute.
No.
Or your father sell pills? True. Yeah, okay, good. Like, that's... If you live in a trailer park and there's a kid with all the shit, you're thinking either one of those two things has happened. Oh yeah, her mom's boyfriend's selling coke. Obviously, that's
trailers in somebody else's name. They're for sure wanted.
That's usually kids I knew. That's how it worked out. Her father was retired Navy. So she said she was born in an Army hospital. Her father did not want her to have her original name. Her mother was going to call her Jennifer, was her original name, which is like half the girls born in the 70s are named Jennifer. It was going to be Jennifer Lynn. Apparently, this is a story out of a later book that she wrote. Her mother was in labor. She says her father was, quote, a bit of a drinker. But her mother was in labor for 36 hours. Which is a lot. So he was drinking and drinking and drinking. He went to the Army base to drink. He was apparently drinking all over the place. The military police finally found him wandering around like some bushes somewhere, shit-faced, while his wife was giving birth. They were going to arrest him, but then he explained the circumstances of, hey, my wife is blah, blah, blah. So they took him to the hospital instead, because we want to take this sloppy fuck to a clean area where a woman's delivering a baby. That's perfect.
You don't understand, you guys. I'm shit-faced because she's going to name her Jen.
I don't like it.
Gary Coleman says if you stay single long enough, you will fuck a lot of Jens.
Because there are
so many girls named Jen out there.
Back then. When he was out
he's in that
world.
generation,
where half the girls were named Jen.
Just filled with Jens.
And when I was in high school, any class of any school I was ever in, there was at least 3 girls named Jen everywhere. I think growing up I had like 4 girlfriends named Jennifer. I swear to God. I'm not even fucking exaggerating. I could think of 4 immediately, so there's probably more. I don't even know.
I've for sure put my mouth on a few Jens. That's true.
Before the age of 16, I had 4 girlfriends named Jennifer. So that tells you how many Jennifers there are, because I wasn't like didn't have a million girlfriends, so like that's a lot of Jennifers.
Yeah.
At one point, I was deciding between 2 girls named Jennifer.
Oh, my God.
Like the 8th grade. So that tells you a lot right there. So, I don't get it.
All the girls are just named Jen.
They're all named Jen. So he comes in to the delivery room with a bottle of vodka, which I don't know why the cops would. They think they'd be like, yeah, go on in, but leave this with us. Why don't you? Hey.
How do they not take that off of him?
Let's keep that behind.
So haven't you had enough? Nope.
In an Army hospital, too. This isn't like they have authority there, these people. Like, think they would.
They're like, no, let him keep it. She's going to name her Jen.
Jesus Christ. Well, he says she says he bursts in the door and says, quote, she's not Jennifer, she's Tamara.
Yep. He is pissed about this Jen thing.
Yeah, apparently that, there you go. So that was,
and what year
wants
is this?
Tamara. This is 72.
Yeah.
72. So she was named Tamara. Apparently, that's the thing about the 70s, too. Your drunk father could burst into the delivery room and make just a shit-faced declaration, and the mother would do it. She would fucking fill that birth.
Yeah.
Imagine if you did that when you burst in drunk while your wife was having one of your kids and be like, we're naming him Harvey. She'd be like, get the fuck out of here. She would kick the shit out of you. She would have you removed and fucking, oh my God, your balls would be in your ears by the time you
likely arrested for some offense.
Something.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that. In the 70s, they were like, he wants Tamara. Right. I guess we're naming. Get me the birth certificate. They'll fill it right out.
Do you see what you're doing to him with the Jen?
Come on, people are like, come on. He works hard. This guy. Look at him.
Look how drunk you got him just by mentioning Jen.
Back then, all you had to do was work hard, and you could do anything. And people go, he works hard, and they go, well, he works hard. Yeah, that's right. So ridiculous.
Now I work my balls off, and I can't pay my bills.
That's what I mean. It's like he works hard. Now it doesn't matter what he does.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Yeah, your kids will tell you to fuck off. Like back then, if you could beat the shit out of your kid and the mother would go up to him and go, Daddy works very hard. Right. That was the excuse for it. You could be a dick.
Don't you understand how hard he works?
He works hard. He's tired. Jesus.
He's still got enough energy to punch me. He doesn't work hard enough as me.
Work like 80 hours a week. I'm not allowed to say shit to anybody. This is bullshit. This isn't fair.
I was born in the wrong time.
Fuck, man. So, Jesus Christ. So, Tammy played the piano growing up. She, wanted to be a veterinarian when she was a kid, like every other little
goals and aspirations and shit.
80% of the girls in the 80s were named Jennifer and wanted to be veterinarians. So I feel like she's right in line with that. Finally, when she's a kid, about 7 years old, she discovers wrestling.
Yeah.
She discovers WWF wrestling, which is WWE now, but WWF in the 70s and 80s when she discovered it. And you can't explain it if you don't live, I don't know. If you're not from the Northeast, it's hard to explain what like WWF, WWE is to the Northeast, and especially was in the 70s and 80s. It was the local thing.
Really?
Like it wasn't like, it wasn't like that big crazy thing you would see on TV. I mean, it was on TV and all that, But it was like, yeah, it's at like every arena around here has wrestling every month. Like WWE's always here. You'd like see the guys. If people went out to bars, they'd see the wrestlers. Like it was like that. That's where they all lived, was in the Northeast.
Did
so,
they really?
Oh yeah, that was they're still Connecticut, Stamford, Connecticut's the WWE's headquarters.
I don't think I ever knew that. I don't think I even cared to like look it up. You know what I mean?
Oh no, and back then in the territory system, which we've explained in all the other ones, all those territory systems, the Northeast was its own territory, and that was like I grew up in South Poughkeepsie there in Wappinger, so the Mid-Hudson Civic Center, that's where they did their television tapings for a long time. So the national show that you'd see on Saturday morning was taped right by my house. So.
That's fascinating, because as a kid in Arizona that's got it on TV, I guess it doesn't occur to an 8-year-old to go, where are they taping this?
That's what I mean. You think of that as like it's like Yankee Stadium or something like that. It's just this location out there where you go. For us, it was
just a thing that's happening somewhere.
Yeah, for us, it was just like that's the local thing. That's you know what I mean, like WWF. So. And especially back then in this like late 70s when she got into it, that was like when Bruno Sammartino was at the end of his thing. So it was just a really big deal back there, and it was like the local thing. She said she never had seen it before. She didn't know anything about it, but some kid from the neighborhood wasn't allowed to watch it at home. Yeah. There's always the hyper kid who's not allowed to watch wrestling. Like my son, I will not show wrestling. No. He's 11, hyperactive, has autism. He's hyperactive, and he's fucking huge. Yeah. He does not need to know anything like that at all.
Don't tell him that exists. Oh. Like, the thoughts of doing things, like wrestling with his sister without knowing that it's wrestling, it's there.
If you show him
how to do things,
get up on top of it, wait till she turns her back, and then bulldog her from that's it. It's over.
It's like Encino Man.
Yeah, we can't have that shit because I'm very calm and all that, and I did that shit as a kid. So if I did it, he's going to do it more.
Yeah,
that's the way I'm
Brendan
looking at it.
Fraser, a kid at school.
Yeah, absolutely. He fucking absolutely will.
Pile drive him and put him on his shoulders in helicopter.
Dude, my mom used to have this body pillow that I'd used to just fucking jump off the top rope on and fucking do flying elbow smashes like Macho Man.
Off the back of the fucking couch.
Oh, God, that's what I did. I did the back of the couch and he'd launch myself and throw myself onto the floor like a maniac and shit. He'll do that, my son, so I cannot show him. So apparently this kid was one of those kids that can't be shown wrestling. So
it's already hard enough when he plays Mario Kart, and he's not. That's not even any like bodily.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. He's not physically doing anything, but it's already hard enough with Joey doing that shit, losing his fucking mind,
losing his temper, jumping around like a maniac.
Because the game cheats. That fucking
cheats,
game.
Yeah, that's Mario Kart does cheat.
Yeah.
Let's not get into that.
Constantly.
Mario Kart, that's a cheating cocksucker every time. You know what? That Mario is an unscrupulous motherfucker. I would not hire him to do any plumbing, is all I have to say, because he cheats like crazy.
You get in the first place, and then the only thing that you can collect are bananas? That's fucking dumb.
Yeah, eat dicks.
That's dumb.
Eat dicks, fella. Bananas for you.
You're in first place. What do you want? Fucking, I don't know, red fucking shells. That's what I want.
No, you can't have them. You're in first place. It's like the NFL draft. You're your last pick now. The shit team gets the red shells. So this kid came over and was like, "Can I watch this?" And she was like, "I don't know. I guess we can turn it on." Yeah. And then she said she was immediately hooked into the whole thing. And that's, I guess, how you find it as somebody. It's weird. It's when you were a kid, because there was no internet, you couldn't like discover things on your own. Yeah. It was like this like grapevine, playground grapevine of shit, where word would spread of things, and it's amazing how rumors used to spread back in the day with no like technological means of spreading. Like, how did it get from that one town? Who was the kid who was like the patient zero who would go from that one town where everybody's saying it and spread it to other towns, and it would be. We all heard the same rumors. Yeah. I guarantee you, we heard the same playground rumors as kids 2,000 miles away from each other.
Right.
It's weird as fuck. Yeah.
How does you swallow a watermelon seed and you'll grow a watermelon in there?
Yeah.
How does every kid know that?
Every kid knows.
How does everybody know that?
Well, Jimmy, that's common knowledge. Right. I mean, we all know.
You swallow your bubble gum and it stays in there and never digests ever.
Forever. So if you keep swallowing it, you end up with a giant ball of bubble gum that will obstruct all of your food and you'll die. Don't you know that?
How the fuck does a kid in Arizona hear that same rumor as the kid in New York? And it's not even fucking true.
Also had a gym teacher once tell me that if you swallow your gum, it goes to your appendix, and that's why appendix burst, and they have to take that out. So don't swallow your gum. Then it turned out that guy was a molester. So I started swallowing my gum already again. Fuck you, dude. The one I told you guys about. Yeah, that was the molesting gym teacher.
Unbelievable.
So in addition to spanking children for their birthday, he also gave very poor medical advice, which I would expect from a molesting gym teacher. I wouldn't expect anything less.
Yeah, figure he knows a lot of WebMD bullshit.
You know, that kind of type of thing. So she said she got into it immediately, much like I did. For me, it was my cousin Jesse told me about WrestleMania 2 when I didn't know anything about wrestling. Yeah. He's like, Hulk Hogan and King Kong Bundy are going to fight in a cage. And I'm who? That all sounds amazing, but what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I don't know what a Hulk Hogan is. I don't know what a King Kong Bundy is.
That one sounds really fucking cool.
If those two people are guys and they're going to fight inside of anything, I'm going to fucking watch that. Like, that's, and when he first said a steel cage, I pictured like a dog cage.
Yeah.
I pictured two grown men inside a cage they could barely fit into. And I thought it would be boring, but brutal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is hand-to-hand combat right
here. He can't get away.
And then I saw what it was. I was like, oh, around the ring.
That's a really big cage.
Get you now. Yeah. Now, check. Check.
I saw a fucking Zumanity Cirque du Soleil show, and it was like that. Like, the cage match was
really?
It was super. It's a fucking weird show.
First
of all, there's a girl in a fishbowl that's naked, and she's like swimming around it, which was really
artistic
cool.
representation
it's
there.
Pretty awesome. But then there's two dudes fighting in a cage. The cage is too fucking small. It's almost a dog cage, and then at the end of it they make out, and I was just like, this is too much. I can't watch this. This is really a lot, and they're half naked. It's fucking crazy.
Jimmy has a certain reservoir for gayness. He's like, it can fill, but if it rains too hard,
it escaped me of how to cheer for that. Like, because I'm a dude that loves boxing. I love fighting, so I understood the wrestling part. I was like, yeah, fuck him up. And then at the end of it, they start making out, and I'm like, no, that's not how
What's
this works.
What's happening now?
No.
This is
punch him.
Hulk Hogan and King Kong Bundy didn't make out after their cage match. That would have changed the entire scope of WrestleMania, I feel like. To this day, it would be a different event. I feel like if at the end of that, Hulk Hogan leg dropped King Kong Bundy, walked out of the steel cage, because that's how you win, but then took a pause, felt bad, went back inside, and instead of beating up Bobby the Brain Heenan, which is what he did in WrestleMania 2 when Bundy left, he instead picked Bundy's carcass up off the mat, cradled him in his arms, and kissed him passionately. That would have been a completely different thing. While Bobby the Brain Heenan filmed it from the outside. That would have been something.
A handy cam on his shoulder.
I feel like that crowd wouldn't have known how to react to that either.
It would have been fucking silent. They wouldn't have known to boo.
No.
Because they would have felt like pieces of shit.
They wouldn't have known what to do, I feel like.
You don't know what to do.
They would have shocked the world.
And I'm be honest, after every scene at that Zumanity thing, there was clapping and applause that was deafening, except for that one. Everybody was everybody was like me. They were trying to process and didn't know.
That's the thing. It's not like you're against guys making out. Make out all you want. It's just like,
a lot.
Huh? What was that?
You got a ripped white guy with super blonde, slick back hair, and then this bald black guy that's just as ripped, and they're pushing each other around like crazy.
That sounds pretty gay.
And
what
it's
you
dancing,
just described.
But it's dancing.
Yeah,
they're shirtless and fucking tight shorts.
Yeah, what you're describing is gay as fuck and wrestling at the same time. You're describing wrestling
when you're watching
and gayness.
It, you go, why don't you two just fucking make out? And then they make out, and you're like, I don't know that I wanted you to do that.
I think I might have jumped the gun on that request. Guys, I'm happy for you. I'm thrilled for you.
Congratulations.
More power to you. Make out all you want. But I need a second to process, and then I'll clap. That's all. Need a second to go, okay, then they make, okay. Then I'll clap. But you need your brain.
Oh, yeah, this is art.
It takes a second. For a minute, you thought it was a UFC fight, and then you're like, whoa, hey.
This got real fucking intense really fast.
Shit got real, man. So Tammy was hooked on wrestling, much like I was. She had the same type of thing where she started buying all the magazines and started trying. It's I'm obviously, as you might be able to tell from I like to gather information and weird things. So I needed to know everything about everybody. Yeah. Same thing with baseball. I needed to look at all the cards and memorize everybody's stats and shit like that, where they're from, bats right, left, all that type of shit. Same thing with wrestling. Yeah. Need to know everybody. Need to know who's good in all the different places. I need to know their heights, their weights, where they're from. The whole deal. Plus, you also need to know that so you can be your announcer in your head when you're playing with your wrestling figures. Right. You need to know that Macho Man is, 238 pounds from Sarasota, Florida. You need to know that type of thing. So,
meanwhile, I don't know shit about shit. I don't know bats left or right, for Christ's sake.
I'm fucking insane.
I was heckling. At a baseball game, and I made like a swinging gesture about somebody getting revenge on a pitcher because he was hitting the ball instead of getting struck out like his last at bat. And some asshole like 3 rows away turns around and goes, "He bats left-handed."
That's amazing.
And the crowd clapped.
That's
and I was
amazing.
like, "You guys are all dicks. Fuck you."
That's great. I like that everyone had his back. I like how it was bothering everyone. Everyone was watching and go, "Is he doing this right-handed?"
He doesn't even bat left.
This guy's such a fucking idiot right now. I don't care what he's saying, but he's clearly batting right-handed, and that's not real. That's all I'm saying right now. So she was into it, same way, got all the magazines. She said her mom and her sister started taking her to the live shows at the Meadowlands there every month. She was super into it. The Meadowlands, it's in northern New Jersey where the Giants played and all that shit before they built the new stadium. And so she'd go there, and they used to run. WWF had monthly shows that they would run the Madison Square Garden, Meadowlands, Nassau Coliseum, which are all in the same place basically. They'd run those
it in
constantly. Yeah, and they would too around the time of Hulk Hogan and all that. These are all sellouts. 20,000, 20,000 every time. So they were doing well, we'll say. But she was into it. I mean, they had to take her every month, which sounds like fuck. When I was a kid, if someone would have taken me every month, holy shit, I would have been so excited.
Her dad is really killing it.
He's killing it. I got to go to the ones at the Civic Center, but I got to go to Madison Square Garden once.
Yeah.
It was great. But
one
time.
Imagine.
One fucking time.
I can't
My
even
parents
imagine.
didn't take me. It was like
so rad.
My cousin's stepfather or something that took me. Like, no one's taking me. She credited Wendy Richter with getting her to make her want to be into the wrestling, want to be a wrestler and get into the wrestling business. Do you know who Wendy Richter is? If you guys don't know, they did a thing in about 84, WWF did, where Cyndi Lauper somehow met up with Captain Lou Albano and they became buddies, as you might know from any Cyndi Lauper video in the 80s has a bunch of wrestlers in it. Right. Has Roddy Piper, has Captain Lou Albano.
So weird.
You might see that and go, what the fuck is going on? At the time, she was super into wrestling, and she ended up like being in the WWF for 6 months, which was weird as fuck.
I do remember that.
She was like Wendy Richter's manager. Okay. And she'd come out with Wendy Richter, and she would have her producer and boyfriend, David Wolf, who's a record producer and her manager, with her too.
That's so weird.
It was so weird because it was a big public thing. Because Cyndi Lauper was a huge star in 1984. I mean, huge star. Girls just want to have fun. And the fucking Goonies, it was a huge deal.
It's like Britney Spears wandering down the fucking...
That's what I mean.
It's weird.
And it's super strange. That's what's odd. Like a giant star being like, of the recording world being like, I'm this chick's manager now in wrestling. It's the weirdest shit. Yeah. But at that time, though, after their shows that I was watching about this, that like afterwards they talked to Danny DeVito's there in the audience, and they're talking to Andy Warhol. Like all these celebrities are like going to wrestling shows. It became like this weird kitschy thing to do in the 80s, and it was on MTV. Yeah. They had The War to Settle the Score, which was a big show with Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper and Cyndi Lauper and Wendy Richter and Fabulous Moolah or whatever. And so they had it was big nationally. It was on MTV. It was a big deal. And Wendy Richter was like, she looked very 80s. Like Cyndi Lauper was with her. She had like big hair and she had like bright eye makeup
pink and blue shit in it.
Yeah, she had like the neon spandex and all that type of shit. She was very 80s. Yeah. So I can imagine like a 12-year-old girl from New Jersey seeing that and being like, I want to be that. Yeah. Look at the size of her hair.
Right.
Yeah, someday,
Tits
baby.
Are out.
Oh, man. I bet she smells like fucking Bacardi. This is perfect.
Like Bacardi.
Yeah,
Not even mixed with Coke or something. No. Just like the smell
like
of Bacardi.
Like Bacardi. Yeah, she didn't mix it with anything. She just got a hold of a bottle.
Just got some rum and just
come here, sweetheart. So,
Gross.
She thought of Wendy Richter as a female role model there. She said she started lifting weights and started she started memorizing like the manager's promos, the interviews. She'd start memorizing those to shit like that. I get what she's doing here. She said she would she had her mom buy her elbow and knee pads, and she would like fucking practice wrestling moves and shit.
God.
Like, she was really, really fucking into it as like a kid, which is really funny. And I totally get where she's going. She'd put like, bandanas around her wrists and ankles and all that type of shit to, look like the Rock and Roll Express or something in one of those 80s. Even Wendy Richter did that too. She said she chose her entrance music was Warrior by Patti Smith.
Oh, good Christ.
You don't get any more 80s than that. So, yeah, she said she was there.
I am the warrior. That's ridiculous.
So she called herself the American Dream Tammy Walker, which the American Dream's already Dusty Rhodes. So
what are you doing?
But still, I don't know if she knew that back then. She might not have known that in New York. There was no
vagina, so you can name yourself something too.
Yeah, what the hell? So, yeah, she was practicing that sort of thing. She was really, really into it. She said she started to get out of it around 13, which is when I got out of it, too. It was like 11 or 12. I was like, wasn't interested anymore.
It's not real. So.
Yeah, well, no, it was just like I like girls now, and I want to go outside, and I like skateboarding and girls. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I was into at 12.
I can see that guy's cock through his bulge. That's weird.
Skateboarding and girls, and you couldn't really pick up, you're 12, but you couldn't get girls to like you talking about wrestling when you're 12, so you had to
you either got to impress them or bond with them.
Yeah,
one of the two.
Exactly. Right. So I'll try this skateboarding move and then talk to them about fucking bands, and maybe that'll do it.
I mean, granted, there are some girls today that are very impressed with wrestling knowledge. But it's not a plentiful group.
It's not a huge group.
When you're looking for numbers, and the majority of people are going to look for something where they have their pick. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Of a large pool.
A larger pool, right. Exactly.
And when the larger pool are impressed by somebody on a skateboard or a bicycle, that's the one you're going to do.
That's what you're doing, exactly. Or sports or something like that. Yeah, you're not going to be like, see Hulk Hogan yesterday? Like, that's not going to work.
When there's 11 women that are impressed by your knowledge of the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
But there's 11,000 that are impressed by your kickflip.
If you can, I was just going to say, if you can fucking if you can ollie over a garbage can there, that's going to get you way more.
Yeah.
Way more.
Right.
So she says it's around 13 is when she attends her last live show that her family takes her to, that she goes, pays for as a kid here. Sure. It's an AWA show, which is AWA is the Minnesota group that we talked about where Buck Zumhoff came out of.
Got it.
So go back to, I think, episode 74 if you want to hear all about the AWA. Don't eat. All about Vern Gagne and all that shit in the AWA there. But that's a whole other episode. Anyway, Wrestle Rock Rumble. You will sum everything up. Just look up Wrestle Rock Rumble.
It's on YouTube.
That's the AWA.
And then
you'll go, oh my God, that is terrible. Exactly.
And somebody put that out as promo.
That's why they hired a firm for that. Yeah. They hired people.
Somebody thought that was a great finished product.
Yeah, they're like, this is perfect. It's to the exact beat of the Super Bowl shuffle. Yeah, that's popular last year, so this will be popular too. So, but they were on ESPN. This is 85, so they were on ESPN at this point. So it had to be 86 because that's when Shawn Michaels came into the AWA. I know this from the Buck Zumhoff episode. So she's 14. It's 86. AWA started to try to come to New York, the New York area, because they were on national TV on ESPN. So they did a show in Asbury Park, New Jersey, and she went to this show as her last show. And this is the time she said she fell in love with Shawn Michaels.
Oh, boy.
If you don't know who Shawn Michaels is, look him up. He was a wrestler for, 30 years probably.
Very handsome man.
Back in the day, he was a very handsome. Now he's like a cross-eyed and weird and shit, but he was a very handsome dude, especially for like the 80s and early 90s. Blonde, long blonde hair. And he was a young guy too. At this point, he's like 20 years old.
Fairly big, right? No,
he's like 6'1",
yeah, he's not
but he looks tiny in wrestling. Like he always looked super small because everybody's fighting 6'6".
Right.
But he's actually, he's like 6'1", 230 pounds,
and very good.
He's a great wrestler too. Yeah, a lot of fun to watch. Really good shit. So, but I mean, this was when he was first starting out, and he was in the Rockers, Midnight Rockers at the time with Marty Jannetty, and they were both like this young. They were like young, cool dudes that came out to like Judas Priest music and like had like bandanas tied around all their shit. And like, in 86, they were considered cool.
They were the shit.
And they would come out and girls would screech and all that type of shit. So she said she saw Shawn Michaels, and that was, she was like obsessed with him from then on. She said she would watch AWA on TV to try to see him. Yeah. She brings up the Wrestle Rock Rumble as well.
She does.
She does. She said those are the Wrestle Rock Rumble days that she watched, and I was watching that too, sister. Yeah. I hear you. I was a lot younger than you, but still, I hear you. She said she didn't think she'd ever be able to meet him or anything like that, though.
Yeah.
So she goes through high school, and she's not really into wrestling anymore.
Right.
Obviously,
it's
like
over.
we said. Yeah, she's a high school
Ship
girl.
has sailed.
She's into, I don't know,
whatever the fuck they did in high school in the 70s or 80s.
Ponies and shit. I don't know.
It was the 80s, huh?
It was the 80s. She was talking on the phone.
88,
yeah. Let's see, from the 80s footage I've seen.
A Lips phone.
So yeah, she talked on one of those Lips phones or one of those clear ones where you can see all the inner workings. I figure she did that a lot.
Stupid ones that fucking connected together.
Yeah.
And then if it just came off just a little bit, then you get that fucking...
Yeah. She played stand-up arcade games, I figure.
That,
she went and did stuff like that. That's all I can imagine she was
got
doing.
up from her bed to change the channel on her TV.
Watching MTV.
Yeah.
Well, she wouldn't change it because it'd be MTV. Well, maybe when The Warrior was over, she'd have to change it. It's like, I don't like Duran Duran.
Right.
I just wanted to hear The Warrior, and I'm moving on now.
She got to go move bunny ears and shit like that.
Got to go move those around. MTV's not coming in quite clear enough. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you more about Harry's.
Harry's.com.
Harry's is phenomenal. These razors are amazing. Jimmy, ingrown hairs, gone. Smooth.
It's the best.
It is the best. And I'm telling you another thing right here. My wife uses Harry's. Yeah. Loves it. And we've gotten a lot of our female listeners, they send us messages saying, hey, these Harry's blades are great for ladies too.
They really
are. And they
are.
are. So it doesn't matter who you are. Harry's is right for you, and they have a special offer just for our listeners right now. They stand behind the quality of their blades. They know they're great blades. We know they're great blades, but it's a hard thing to get people to switch blades. People it's their brand. It's their thing that they're into. So Harry's has made it a little bit easier for you. They've created a trial offer. You can claim yours by going to harrys.com/crime and sports, and you can get these fantastic razors. These guys that started the company, they were fed up with overpaying for all these expensive razors, for all these expensive razor companies so they can have big fancy buildings and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So they said, none of this. We are going to sell these razors directly to the people over the internet, and that way they can offer their blades at a much lower price than the leading brand. Just about $2 per blade as compared to $4 or more from these other brands. And Harry's backs up everything they do. If you don't love your shave, let Harry's know within 30 days, and they will give you a full refund. This is a fantastic offer. You get a $13 value trial set that comes with everything you need for a close, comfortable shave, weighted ergonomic handle, 5-blade razor with lubricating strip and trimmer blade, rich lathering shave gel, and a travel blade cover. Listeners of our show can redeem their trial set at harrys.com/crimeinsports. Make sure you go to harrys.com/crimeinsports to redeem your offer and let them know we sent you to help support the show.
harrys.com/crime-and-sports. Go now. Go get your razors. And now back to the show.
It is her senior year in high school that she meets a young man that she's going to be connected with for a while here. She meets Chris Candido is his name. I don't know if you know who he is. Probably not. Chris Candido is a wrestler as well. He becomes a wrestler after this. And he's one of these guys that from all these episodes and everything, I've seen a ton of these interviews with these wrestlers because now they do these interviews. I gotta say, the one group that puts them out, the kayfabe commentaries, they're called. They do a really, really good job with this shit. They really do. They're well researched. These questions, like they sit down with these people and they really go over everything with a fine tooth comb. For a guy like me, very helpful to hear it from the horse's mouth type of thing. And everybody they interview, Sunny is brought up because she's one of these people. We'll get into, she fucked everybody.
Really?
Oh boy, Jesus Christ, everybody. And she's just a character that is always talked about. Like everyone has an opinion on her. No one's like, I don't know, she's okay. Everyone's like, fuck that bitch, or I love her, she's the best.
Yeah.
Only 2 reactions. Yeah. Chris Candido, on the other hand, never heard a bad word. And this is like, wrestlers are like comics. Like, you can ask them if they like someone. Oh, yeah, he's okay. The second that green room door shuts, they're like, he raped my sister. Right. He's a fucking asshole. He's a hack. He stole 3 jokes from this guy.
He's got a coke addiction.
They fucking hate everybody. And these guys will be going down, that guy's a scumbag. That guy's a dickhead. This guy's that. They'll get to Candido. Nicest guy in the world. What a great guy. Never heard a bad word said about him. And anything, personally, professionally.
Yeah.
They all said he's a great wrestler. He's amazing in the ring. He does whatever you need to do. He's terrific outside the ring. He's a sweetheart of a guy, just the best. All of them are like, I just don't know what the fuck he saw in that girl. I mean, they were like, I get what he saw in her, but I don't know why he would keep putting up with being abused, because wait till you hear what she puts him through.
Really?
Dude, this is bad stuff. Like, there's people who, these wrestlers, they're just like, they tell these stories and they're like, I just feel fucking terrible to this day, 20 years later, telling the story because it's so shitty to Chris. Okay. Like, that's how bad she was to him later on. And she denies it and she says other things, and we don't know their arrangement, but she's a little fucked, as we'll find out. I don't know her, I can't judge her, but she seems a bit fucked here. She says that let's do it in their own words about Chris Candido here and finding him, and let's start it out with that. Okay. In their own words, quote, Chris Candido and I dated from senior year on. We were high school sweethearts. At that time, I started doing a little indies as his valet or manager or whatever. When Chris Candido got the job with Smoky Mountain Wrestling, I said to myself, well, I'm not going to let him move there by himself, so I'm just going to transfer college and move on down there. Wow. So Chris ends up, she starts out doing a lot of the Northeast Indies, and especially in the late 80s, early 90s, like early 92, 93. The Northeast was like just fucking indie wrestling promotions everywhere. That's where like ECW sprung out of, and they were all over the place, though. It was just, they were bubbling. So for a guy breaking in, there was a lot of work to find, because a lot of all the territories had died. All the AWA and all those type of places had died. So they had these places to work. So he was doing that shit. And then Smoky Mountain Wrestling is down in Knoxville, and that is Jim Cornette's wrestling company, who we've talked about a lot. Yeah. Funny story here, while they're in Smoky Mountain, the Jim Cornette Dairy Queen incident, where he screams and freaks out at the Dairy Queen lady at the drive-thru. Right. While he was doing that, Chris and Tammy were inside at the counter watching this happen through the drive-thru window, because they all came together and they said, we'll go inside, and they said, okay, we're going to go through the drive-thru. Amazing. And that's what ended up happening, and they were like, what is that fucking Jim out there through the drive-thru window calling that lady a cunt? This is awesome. So I thought that was pretty damn funny. She said they were down there a few months, and Chris was part of a few TV shows. She said Jim Cornette asked them, Chris and Tammy, to go out to dinner with him. She said they were all excited. They were thinking that he was going to try to help Chris with his career or that sort of thing. So they were real happy about it. And he said he wanted her in there too. He said basically to quit school for a couple. This is never do this. No. Never. If a carny man asks you to take off college for 6 months, don't do it ever. He said take 6 months off school, and that's all. He said that's all he would need her for. Yeah. She said she wasn't going to do that. She didn't want to take 6 months off of school. She said she'd adjust her classes to make it work out. She said her dad was supporting her financially.
My dad's paying for this, so fuck you.
Yeah, that's what it was. He said that she had credit cards, and he would put money in her bank account and pay her rent and all that. So she was just whatever. So she said she thought it'd be nice to have her own money by working some weekends here, and to be able to have a little extra money. Basically, he said that Tammy says that Jim Cornette gave her promos, basically here, cut these interviews about this over here. She said she looked at it and asked him if he wanted it word for word, and she said she had a photographic memory and blah, blah, blah. And Jim Cornette, who talks shit about everybody, does say that she's insanely talented. Really? He said she's insanely talented. She's smart as fuck. And she is. That's the thing. That's what's frustrating. Yeah. Frustrating. Fuck you. That's what's so annoying. Yeah. Cocksuckers, take that. That's what's so fucking annoying, though, is that she's super smart. And when you hear her talk, you're like, she's fucking smart as shit. Right. Stop fucking up. Stop it. She does the stupidest shit in the world, and she's clearly a smart, well-spoken person, and drives you nuts.
Makes it sound like her stupidity's calculated.
That's what I mean. It's like, are you trying to be fucking stupid? What is your deal? So yeah, she does Smoky Mountain. That's her first full-time gig, basically.
Is she a jealous woman? The reason I asked is because, like, if you're dating a woman who gets like
depends on if she's drinking. Put it that way. A lot of her behavior depends on if she's drinking. That's all it is.
I'm just trying to compare it to, like, as a dude, like if your girlfriend gets like a modeling gig somewhere, are you going to transfer schools to move there? Only if you're a fucking jealous dude that's terrified of what she's doing.
I feel like that's probably a lot of it is
when it's based on appearance and physical performance.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, she's also too. She's like gone around the independent scene with him, and she knows what these guys are like, and she knows what the girls are like, who like the guys, and she knows these guys fuck these girls. I mean, that's all it is. There's
going to be put somewhere moist.
They call them rats, and they're everywhere. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's one of those things. They put her in. When she went down there. She was going to the University of Tennessee full time, so she wasn't even going to like community college, which you know what I mean. Jim Cornette told her that he needs a girl he needs a girl for this part he's figured out, and thought
she's hot.
And she's hot, exactly. Right. So what the hell, basically, like, and she's young too. At this point, she's like 20, 21 years old. Yeah. She's this young girl. Whatever. She said she was pre-med at this point, by the way.
Oh, because she wanted to be a vet.
Every girl says they're pre-med.
And
so
also,
I don't know.
If you're not a doctor,
she said she wanted to be a pediatrician at that point.
Okay.
So yeah.
But if you're not a doctor and you're in school, you're pre-med.
That's the thing, yeah. Everybody, I'm pre-med.
Right, I'm pre-med.
Technically.
I'm super pre-med.
Technically, I'm pre-med. Yeah, I'm way before med. Here's med. Right. I'm way over there. Not even close to it. So...
I mean, that's what it is.
Far from med. That's what it should have been called. Right. Until you're in medical school, they should call it not even really that close to med.
No.
Nope.
Not med.
Not med. What are you, not med?
Right.
So you're a freshman? Yes. So she comes in. Right. This character they put out there, this is in 93, so this is right after Bill Clinton was elected president.
Got it.
So they base a character based on, and you got to imagine, too, this is like down south. They base a character kind of based on like a Hillary Rodham Clinton character.
Got it.
Back then, like a feminist-type character. And in the early 90s, that was like a... It's not like now where you're like, yeah, go get yours. Like back then, people were just fucking roll their eyes at that shit. Like that's all it was. Yeah,
bitch with her not going to make me a sandwich ass.
There's her shoulder pads and her no sandwich making. Perfect. Like that's how people were back then. So they
she's going to make me mow the lawn and then not get me a beer.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. She's never going to say he works hard. She's never going to say that. She couldn't care less about how hard
she's going to scream about how much so hard. Right, how equal she is and how she works just as hard.
She works just as hard.
Right.
So
by the way, somebody saying he works hard takes nothing away from you, no matter what sex you are.
Yeah, but you can't give him any credit. He might start feeling good about himself, and then that's the end of everything. Keep you a certain amount of down, Jimmy.
Jesus Christ.
They called this character Tamara Murphy Fitch, which is like the three-name thing. Right. Same thing. And
Fitch, not Sytch.
Fitch, not Sytch. And but still with the Y, F-Y-T-C-H. And her character, the whole thing was how she got into the wrestling, where they got this chick from, basically. She said that she would sue Jim Cornette for not hiring her for, discrimination and blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
So that automatically makes her a bad guy back then, because everyone would boo, you whiny asshole, blah, blah, blah. So they brought her in immediately.
A vagina with an opinion, you're an asshole.
Oh, quit talking with your boobs. I don't know. I think their boobs talk. I haven't looked at one of their faces in a long time, but,
Every time I look at your boobs, I hear sounds. sounds of disagreement.
Yeah. Sounds and things. The only sound I never hear, though, is he works hard. I never hear that. Everything else, he's an asshole. Right. He's lazy.
Drinks too much.
Doesn't like it when I hit her. Right. Things like that. That she got plenty of.
All I hear is, don't hit me and stop drinking.
Oh.
And I'm done.
Never, but I work hard. She said the first time she got ever put in front of a camera, she said she was pretty much a natural at it, and that's can't deny, because that's Jim Cornette says the same thing.
Yeah,
put her in front of a camera, so let's try this out, and she said she was a pro immediately. Like, okay, don't have to worry about her. Basically, after 6 months, she was doing so well that she ended up not ended up not finishing school and continuing in the wrestling business because she was doing so well. Mm-hmm. And wrestling is a lot like comedy, which we've said a million times, in the regard of one thing happens and then you never know. So that leads into this.
Maybe this.
Folds
Maybe
into this,
this.
which folds into that. So it's one of those, and you're next thing you know, you're ensnared in the whole fucking thing. Same exact thing.
You're chasing that delicious carrot that doesn't exist. But for her, it exists, actually. It's weird if you're 21 and hot and talented. A lot more doors open. It's weird. Isn't it strange? It's almost as if sex sells. It's so crazy.
And intelligence and fucking, talent. It's so weird. Isn't that weird?
There's something for everybody that's interested in the opposite sex right there. That's really great. Good for her. The whole package.
July. You got it. So in July of 1993, she's managing Primetime Brian Lee. I don't think he was Primetime Brian Lee yet. I think he was just Brian Lee, who I believe, if you're a WWE fan, the shit WrestleMania with the Undertaker versus the fake Undertaker. I believe he's the fake Undertaker.
Really?
I believe that's Brian Lee.
Okay.
Yeah. It's when Undertaker's really good friends until he, believe it's him. No, that might have been no. I think it is him. He got in trouble, got in a domestic violence situation. Brian Lee got arrested by the cops and gave them the Undertaker's name. So there was reports for like a day that the Undertaker got arrested for domestic violence.
Brilliant.
And I don't know if they're friends anymore. I'm going to say I doubt it. So she's managing Brian Lee. He beats Tracy Smothers for the Smoky Mountain heavyweight title. Tracy Smothers is an old Southern wrestler guy who everybody says is really tough, but he's boring as fuck to watch, and I could never really get past one. Couldn't get into one of his matches ever. November of 1994, there's a tournament for the vacant NWA World Heavyweight title that Chris Candido wins, and she's managing Chris Candido over Tracy Smothers. And this is kind of for wrestling fans only, this is after the Shane Douglas thing where he won the NWA title and threw it down and said he was propping up the ECW belt as the belt and said, this belt sucks. We don't want this anymore.
This one's better.
Yeah, this one's better. It was a good PR move for him.
Yeah.
But this is after that. So they're doing so well. And actually, during this time period, too, they make a couple of little shots in ECW when it was still Eastern Championship Wrestling. Back then, Chris does a few things and Tammy comes in with him. That sort of thing here. Now, 1994... Tammy actually is recruited by the WWE at this point. So this is a big deal. She arrives. She starts out as Tammy Sytch, they call her. They make her a, quote, special events reporter. They call her Tamara Murphy, the special events reporter. And after, a month, they changed her name to Sunny. They kind of gave her a character. I remember she used to host, off-brand shows, there's a show on at Saturday at 11:30 in the morning that'd be a highlight show for a half hour. It'd be her. It's hi, I'm Sunny, and let's look at this match. That was what she did. What didn't do much for her.
It's money, but it's a stupid gig.
For her, it's a foot in the door for a 22-year-old kid or whatever. At that point, Chris comes in. Chris Candido comes into WWE, and this is one of the stupidest fucking gimmicks I've ever seen in my life, basically. He comes in as he wears these kind of bright colored spandex that look like workout. Not like the regular shorts. He's got a singlet.
Leotard.
Yeah, kind of more
singlet.
like that. It's like a singlet, but it's also it looks...
Is it two straps or one?
Two straps. The two-strap ones here, not the Andre the Giant caveman one strap.
So dumb.
Only Andre can pull that off.
It's the only one.
Only Andre.
And that's ridiculous,
if you're a giant,
too.
wear that. That's fine.
It's crazy because if somebody...
Because you look like a caveman.
Right. So. If I'm designing that for a man, trying to figure out what he's wearing, and somebody goes, a one-armed singlet, I'm going, no.
No, that's terrible.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
His tit's going to fall out.
Yeah,
but then you put it on him and you're
have one displayed.
Genius.
Jeez, look at that.
Who did that?
For Andre, yeah. So they would act like they were workout people, and they would be you people are fat, and so that was their gig basically. Then they bring in another guy who's Tom Pritchard, who's an old. Oh, God, he's gone forever, Tom Pritchard, as a wrestler. Tom Pritchard as his partner from Smoky Mountain. He was down there. Tom Pritchard and him become the Body Donnas, they call themselves. I don't know if you remember them.
No.
They both had short, bleach blonde hair, very, very yellow, bright hair, and brightly colored outfits, the brightly colored spandex, and Sonny was there. Their names were Skip and Zip.
Oh, good.
This is what I mean. This is a bad time. 95, 96. This is bad. This is when the WWE had like garbage men. You know what I mean? Like guys, they had Duke the Dumpster Droese and like
zero creativity.
They were trying to be too creative. They had like Mantar and shit, like a guy with a big bison head on. This is the time where it was really bad and they were losing money. It was right after the steroid trial, and I think Vince lost his touch here for a minute.
It feels like though in those moments when you rattle off what that is, what they settle on, it almost feels like that's just like a one take. They're like, you name something. Name something. Jam them together. That's our gimmick.
It's
Let's
so
go.
Stupid. No, this is like they came up with that for they didn't. The wrestlers didn't come in with this idea. Hey, we're going to be Skip and Zip. No wrestlers ever said, "Call me Zip, please." And fucking, I'm gonna. That's never happened.
And by the way, Skip is the one that at least Flip. I mean something
Skip.
that
Skip and Zip.
Stupid.
And obviously, they're supposed to be hated, and she's their manager, and she's like, but it's so funny because they're kind of like, I don't know, they're kind of smaller guys. They're not the Road Warriors or anything like that. So you look at them and you're like, I don't know. And you're like, why is she with them? She's too good for them.
Right.
Like I remember back in the day, like as a teenager, I was like, she's too good for them.
Yeah.
Why is she with them? Like I don't know anything about it, but I knew that it wasn't right.
So what was their gimmick then? What are they doing? Like what's their activity of like?
They're like workout fanatic people, and that was basically it. They won the WrestleMania 12. They won the tag team championships over an even worse gimmick. The Godwins. I don't know if you remember the Godwins. They were pig farmers, they called them. This was Vince McMahon has a hillbilly obsession.
Yeah, he does.
From the 80s.
He has a jean obsession. Like he really likes when people either wear overalls, cut-off overalls, or just jeans and a white T-shirt. Like, what the fuck is that?
He grew up in North Carolina, so I really think that he thought that hillbillies were funny. Like
farmers are tough.
Farmers, that's what I mean. Like Hillbilly Jim and Uncle Elmer and all his fucking cousin Luke and all those other ones they had, all the Hillbilly Jim's acolytes. Like in the 80s and then in the 90s, they brought these guys in. And in the 90s, nobody wanted to see this.
No.
Nobody wanted to see this. Like, this is not cool. Too hot. And it was, was it Phineas Godwin and Henry Oga, because he was Hog, was his initials. Henry Oga. So stupid. And they were big, sloppy dudes. During this whole thing, the whole point of this whole little program is that Phineas Godwin falls in love with Sonny, and then of course her tag team beats them because they do like a George the Animal Steel with Elizabeth thing from the 80s.
And when they put the overalls on them,
there's very little more wrestling and a whole lot of crime, so don't worry. Like it's going to be so much crime. I'm telling you.
When he picked the characters that wore the overalls, it was never somebody that overalls like looked decent.
No, it's a fat guy.
I mean? It's always a
fat hairy man
with his fat man tits hanging out the sides of him. No shirt.
No shirt.
Dare you to even think you're wearing a shirt? No.
Real hillbillies don't wear shirts, Jimmy. I think
that's
what
the point of the chest flap.
I picture Vince McMahon getting a guy in there. He's got a shirt on. Why is he wearing that shirt? Hillbillies don't wear shirts. Get that shirt off that guy.
I don't care if you cut it off him.
Come on, buddy. What are you doing there with that shirt on him? We don't wear shirts around here.
Ridiculous.
People go out and they slop hogs with no shirts on. That's what they do in the South. Don't you know anything?
That's the point of them. They're easy to clean.
Oh, man. Looking good, buddy, but a little too much shirt there, I'm going to say. What do you think, pal? A little too much shirt you got there.
I wear overalls for my job, and I don't know when it was, but it was.
Please wear them shirtless one of these days, because I'll crack the fuck up laughing.
There's a point that overalls became like an insult to people, not like to make them wear them, but like when you wear them. I don't know when it was, because they used to be cool.
In the 90s, it was cool.
Yeah, it was, like you'd wear them with one strap, or you wear two straps.
Cavarici overalls and shit. Yeah,
it was cool at some point, but then there became this moment because I wear them and I'm standing directly in front of somebody. They can see what I'm wearing, and they go, "Are you fucking wearing overalls?"
I did it when I saw you. One time you showed up at my house, you popped out, I go, "We're fucking overalls right now, dude. What are you wearing? What are you wearing to my house?"
I'm wearing them right in your face. You know that I'm wearing them, yet it still doesn't register that I would choose it.
No.
Am I seeing things?
Why?
Is that
How?
a shirt with straps?
Why are you?
What are you doing?
Excuse me, Jimmy. Why do your pants have straps on them? I'm curious about that. Is there a problem?
Why do your pants have a pocket on your chest?
The hell is that? Jimmy, what are you, 6 months old? What?
Are you 6 or are you fucking 72?
I think I actually asked you, are those Oshkosh Bagosh? I think I actually did ask you that, if they were Oshkosh Bagosh. To which you just dropped your head.
You fucking wearing overalls? All right.
I'm wearing fucking overalls
Sorry.
right now. So they all through this, there's a thing in here with the Godwins where Sonny gets slopped.
Yeah.
Where the Godwins brought they were hog farmers. Their gimmick, so they'd bring a slop bucket with them.
Okay.
And the slop bucket was a bucket filled with disgusting shit.
Ugh.
Now, it's not supposed to be filled with disgusting shit. It's supposed to just look kind of gross and you throw it on somebody. But if not everybody likes you, well, they'll do shit to you.
Yeah.
Wrestlers love to fuck with each other.
Sure.
And especially they love to fuck with the ones they don't like. And if you have an attitude, I don't know how it is now, but back then if you had an attitude or if you thought you were hot shit or if you were just not a team player, you were going to get fucked with. They were going to destroy your shit. I've told you about cutting the legs off your pants and all that kind of thing, destroy each other's bags.
Yeah.
They'd shit in each other's food. The Sable, the other one, Sable, somebody shit in her food and she ate it.
That's fucked up.
There's rumors of a Sonny shit sandwich also.
Really?
Yeah, there's rumors of that she ate the shit sandwich.
Oh my God.
There's rumors of a Sonny shit sandwich that I've heard from I think Sean Waltman, who was X-Pac and 123 Kid and all that.
Yeah.
I believe he was talking about the Sonny shit sandwich. So that ended up happening. But
by the way, that should happen in real life too.
It should, yeah.
That'll make you really rethink your social abilities.
I feel like it, but they said she didn't sell it for shit. She didn't fucking act like it was anything.
Wow.
She ended up complaining, but she wouldn't do in front of the guy. She wouldn't do anything. But the slop bucket, when they knew that Sonny was getting slopped with it, because everybody knew, they said, "Oh, let me have a second with that slop bucket." Like they would piss in it and shit in it, and fucking who God knows what else in it. You know what I mean? Whatever they could, spit tobacco in it and shit like that. So when it gets all over her, it's fucking disgusting.
Oh.
I mean, they did this. They shit in Jerry Lawler's crown.
Did they really?
Yeah, somebody shit in Lawler. Because Lawler was an owner of Memphis, who was the cheapest wrestling organization in the history of the world. So everybody that used to work for him hates his fucking guts because he stiffed them all. So
Jerry the King.
He got his crown shit in there, and then he complained about that. So that ends up happening there. Now, this is the time we'll talk about this.
Yeah.
She's in the WWE with Chris Candido, who was her longtime boyfriend. Okay, they're together. Everybody knows they're together. This is the time when she starts hooking up with other people. Really? Shawn Michaels is the big one. She says is a 9-month relationship with Shawn Michaels. He downgrades it a little bit. Yeah. He's kind of like, it was a thing, but wasn't that big of a thing. Like, he's not. She says it's a lot more serious than he does. Yeah. She talks about them like going away to the islands together and all this type of shit. But not even that. They would fuck around like in the building while Chris was there. Like, there's a story, it's a famous story that a million wrestlers have told in their interview about how she had like a pink cashmere sweater on one day, and they were in there fucking around in the room, and somebody was keeping watch in case Chris came, and Chris was coming, so they're banging on the door, and they pop out of the door with Shawn with pink fuzz all over his stubble, and they're like, dude, and Chris just didn't even say a word. That's the thing. Chris knew it was happening. He knew it was going on. That's what everybody asks. Every question about them is always like, how did Chris not know? And all of them are like, he had to have known.
Maybe he just
he had to have known. And even she says, when they ask her about it, they're like, how the fuck did he not know this was going on? And she said, I never asked. I don't know. Maybe he did. I never asked him if he knew. I never asked him if he didn't know. I don't know how that's possible. I feel like he had to be into it.
Yeah.
Because there's stories later about her I'm
just seeing a damaged man. You know what I mean?
He's a damaged dude. Yeah.
I just see a dude that just doesn't like confrontation. Why rock the boat? Why ruin a good thing? This is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Granted, it happened in high school.
Yeah,
and that's
and
the
now
most
she's
lazy
tormenting
way. Right.
you. Yeah.
That's just the laziest way to find a wife.
But, he would exactly.
I looked all over the school. You're the one for me.
Yeah, you're like one of those fish that just swims around with their mouth open, or whatever swims in, and you're like, that'll do. No, there's more out there.
Right.
There's more women, more men. There's more for everybody out there.
So many fishies.
So this thing here, though, they all say he had to have fucking known. Mm-hmm. there'll be times when, like, there's all these rumors when they're in ECW that, like, he would go take a shower for 45 minutes while she would fuck somebody and shit like that. Like,
oh, that's too much.
Weird things of, like, him going away at very opportune times for her to do things. And it's really fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if he knew and they had an arrangement that was hurtful to him, but she doesn't want to admit that now, or we have no way of knowing. That's a personal relationship thing. I have no idea. But either way, she was fucking everybody, and he was fine with it, apparently, or whatever, oblivious, either one.
If that's the way your relationship is, you're fine with that. You're fine with
I guess,
that. I don't care.
It's not like they have 5 kids or anything. What's the difference?
But
whatever you got to do.
But if it's something that's public knowledge and people are very aware of it, brace yourself because we're going to judge the fuck out of you. That's just the way it's going to go.
And everybody knows about it. And she on the wrestling side here, she ends up managing the Smoking Guns or helping out the Smoking Guns, the tag team, which was another, like, what are they, cowboys now? It's the 90s. What are we fucking doing? It was Billy Guy, who turned out to be Billy Gunn later, and then Bart Gunn was his partner, and they had tight jeans and cowboy boots. Literally, the one guy, I remember once he was out, and they're like, he was hurt at a rodeo last week. And I'm like, what are we talking about? Really? Fuck you. You know?
That's what I wish a lot of fans of a lot of different things would just do. Just collectively together go, fuck you, I'm out.
You, man.
We're not doing it.
A lot of people did back then, and they switched over to WCW because WWF was fucking garbage.
And by the way, what's with the fucking jeans? Stop it.
That looks so hot.
If there's nobody that's purposely fighting in jeans.
Or
nobody.
Like Mike Rotundo there, who's IRS, wrestled in a suit.
Right.
And tie with suspenders on.
Ridiculous.
Like, first of all, you would be strangled by your tie immediately. So anybody who wouldn't immediately grab you by the tie and choke you out is a fucking idiot, number one. They're not good at their job. Like, that should be the first move of every wrestler, is get him and try to choke him with the tie. It's fucking fair.
It's exactly why
He's got a tie.
Right. It's exactly why MMA girls cornrow their fucking hair so that shit doesn't get grabbed.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I'm going to grab.
That's the thing.
You come at me with your fist balled up, I'm grabbing whatever's loose.
I don't get NFL running backs running with fucking long braids out of the back of their helmet, which you're allowed to tackle you by. You see it all the time. It's like, why are you doing that? You're giving them a handle. What's wrong with you?
And not only that, it trails you.
Yeah.
If I'm 2 feet behind you, I can get it.
I'm latching on to that, ripping it out of your fucking head. So it's at this point also while she's in WWE, WWF at the time, she has a thing with Shawn Michaels for about 9 months. She is kind of the not the beginning, but a piece of the Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart hating each other because apparently she hung out with Bret Hart as a friend. She even says she never fucked him. He says they never fucked. But Shawn Michaels was a little pissy about the whole thing and made a comment on TV basically insinuating that Bret Hart was fucking Sonny, which pissed off Bret Hart because he was like, hey, my fucking wife watches this shit and blah, blah, blah. So they ended up actually really fighting in the dressing room. It's a fucking mess, but... Yeah.
Just for context, Bret Hart is fucking handsome. Like, as a dude,
back then he was.
Guy,
Back then he was a handsome guy, but he was also a little bit older.
Yeah.
So I feel like he was. From what I understand, that was more of an older brother type relationship.
Okay.
Like he was, because Bret Hart has like 5 sisters too. So I think that was probably more of an older brother, younger sister type of relationship than it was like a fucking relationship. Whereas these two were, close in the same age.
Straight as it gets, but you leave me in a room with Bret Hart alone, I'm going to be trying to convince him.
Well, I think you never know.
He's a handsome fucking guy.
He's had a lot of concussions and a stroke. You might be able to pull it off nowadays. You never know, dude.
I might fuck Bret Hart.
You know what, Jimmy? You go up to Calgary and you give it a run.
Is that where my man's at?
It's where he always was. It's where he lived and is from. So I assume he's up in Canada up there. So you go find him and you give him a good fucking for me.
Bret Hart and Razor Ramon both. They were both handsome fucking dudes.
This episode was either her or Razor Ramon.
Really?
So
oh my God!
Razor Ramon will be coming up shortly.
Fantastic.
A couple of wrestlers in the pipes here are Razor Ramon, who's Scott Hall, and New Jack are coming very shortly.
Fantastic.
So we're going to spread those out over the next year or so.
Gonna be ridiculous.
Oh, that's going to be so much fucking amazing. So it's at this point she's not only had those two fighting, and she was fucking Shawn Michaels, but we find out very recently, she just admitted this in the last 3 years, that she was also used to fuck Davey Boy Smith.
My
the
Christ.
British Bulldog. Remember the British Bulldog? She used to also fuck the British Bulldog back at this point. Jacked up as they come, British dude. I don't know. She was into him. That's another one who was very popular when she was a teenager. Okay. So I feel like she was like a teenage crush type of thing. So
getting nostalgic.
Yeah. So all of this, she's still with Chris. He still works there. They still work together. They travel together. She goes and fucks somebody in another room and then pops in like nothing happened. Weirdest shit
being
ever.
Married to a wife in an office and she's off banging fucking the guy in accounting
in the next cubicle,
right? And
you're pretending like you're dealing with the pizza guy for 20 minutes because I don't know who ordered pineapples. Right. I don't know anything.
All I got these singles. One. Yeah. What's after one? Two.
Shit.
What's after two? Three. I gotta leave you a tip, sir. I want to go back to my desk and get some change. Fuck, just delaying so that she can get it.
Yeah, no shit. So but she's becoming insanely popular.
Really?
In 1996, 97, she was, and who knows how accurate this is, the statistics, but AOL, which back then, if you were on the internet in 1996, it was because you were on AOL because they sent you a CD in the mail that said you had 20 free hours of AOL, and you'd put it in, and then you'd get on AOL, and then they charge you like $18 a minute after that to fucking talk in a chat room. So.
Those were great chat rooms.
They were.
I'd go into the lesbian one and pretend to be a girl.
That seems right. Yeah, that's a clever move, honestly. I didn't have a computer, so I didn't have access to it until I was too old to do that.
It was probably me and 42 other dudes
I'm
pretending
sure,
to be lesbians.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's so hard having such big boobs. Right. And wanting girls really bad, isn't it?
I really need a girl to lick these huge
boobs. Oh, my God.
Boobs.
It's so... My boobs are so big, I want a girl to caress them. I guess I could caress yours if I had to. Yeah.
Like 13, I'm like, this is a lifestyle I'm fascinated with. Let's talk, ladies. And it's just me.
So back then, you were either Jimmy in a lesbian chat room, or you were downloading pictures of girls to jerk off to very slowly. Right. That was very, very slow download. But you'd wait for it. And she was the most downloaded celebrity on AOL back then in 96, 97.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what I mean, how popular she was. Because wrestling was one of those fans, a lot of them the time because they were young, too, were the really early adopters of the internet, early adapters of that. And I feel like that's why. And that's how big she was mainstream. She's literally AOL's most downloaded person.
It just occurred to me. She was in Playboy, wasn't she?
No, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
You're thinking of Sable.
And
Sable
that was a good
Playboy.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, was that a good one.
Sable was in Playboy. And Jim Cornette actually talked about finding out what she got paid for that. And
he was a little upset.
They said, "Well, what did she get paid?" He goes, "Better than I ever did any year I was ever in the wrestling business. One day shoot." Yeah. He was like, "Fucking bitch,"
and it was a great one.
Not happy.
Boy, was it good.
Everyone out there should listen to Small Town Murder. Yeah. You really should, mainly because you never know who's next door. Oh. And that's the point of this show, really. You never know who is next door. You never know what's going to happen on Small Town Murder. That's what makes it so wonderful. The only thing you do know is that people are going to die, and we're probably going to make jokes about it. That's it. That's all we can promise you. We dig into these towns. We see what makes them tick, from local legends to scandals they may have had. And, of course, the biggest scandals of all, horrible murders that take place there. And we put what I feel is a completely appropriate comedic spin on the whole thing. And you know you need a laugh right now. So get in there, listen to Small Town Murder. Follow Small Town Murder on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Small Town Murder early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
So she's the most downloaded celebrity. She also, the WWE has the Slammy Awards. You know what they are? The wrestling awards.
It's the wrestling
Grammy.
The
wrestling Grammy, the Slammy. Yeah, it's got a picture of a guy literally holding another man up in the air on it. It's got a little gold man holding another man about to slam him. So besides the Slammy, she wins 1996 Pro Wrestling Illustrated, which is like the magazine of wrestling. Pro Wrestling Illustrated's Manager of the Year in 1996, which is, I guess that's good. They're kind of phasing out managers.
Yeah, there's like
still,
11 of them.
but still, not too shabby for her. And then she wins the Slammy Awards for Slammy Award winner 96 for Brains Behind the Brawn. I assume that's a manager award. And then my favorite award, and the award, Jimmy, this is the award here that I long for and I strive for. Some people go for an Academy Award, a Nobel Peace Prize, something like that. I am going for the Slammy Award for Best Buns. That's what I'm going for, Jimmy.
No fucking way.
She won the Slammy Award for Best Buns.
She got Best Ass. That is crazy.
Best ass in the building, everybody.
And nobody said, we can't do this.
No, Best Buns. I'm going to say it right now. Once you win a Slammy for Best Buns, that's grace.
You win.
This is grace. I'm sorry. That's fucking grace right there.
Ridiculous.
I would say so.
You can't today.
That's grace.
If somebody won Best Buns, the only way you can do it is if a dude gave it to another dude,
or it was a porn award,
right?
Or it was like,
is it the AVN?
We're all gross, okay? Right. Everybody agree? Wonderful. Let's hand out awards about it.
We're giving a Best Anal Award. We may as well give Best Booty Shape, too.
Let me ask everything. Everybody in here, sticky and smell poop in the air. Okay, good. We're ready to have an award show. Let's do this. Some of this shit's going to be offensive. So, yeah, that's definitely grace. Your Best Buns, it's over, man. Yeah. I mean, that's a peak. You're never going to hit that peak again once your Best
display
Bun.
It for sure.
Once you have a Slammy Award for Best Buns on your shelf, I think it's over with. At this point here, we'll let her tell it. We'll do it in their own words here. Okay. In their own words, quote, "It was 1996 that I was AOL's most downloaded celebrity, which was where the Playboy offer came about. We were all in Vince McMahon's office. We were on the road for about 2 months and then got to be home for 3 days. I remember getting a phone call from Vince McMahon's secretary, and they called and said that Vince wanted to see me in his office. I asked if it could hold on because I only have 3 days off to do. I need to do laundry. They said no, he really needed to see me in the office.
Okay.
So she went there. She said she thought she was going to get fired. Because she was like, why do they need to call me in? It's like the principal's office. And basically she said she went into the office, she went into the conference room, and then they came about that the Playboy had offered her something. And she said it took her less than 5 minutes to turn it down. She said she was young and she just wasn't ready for something like that. She said in her book, looking back now, is it something I should have done? Absolutely. I was just very reserved at that time, and at the time I just wasn't ready emotionally to handle something like that.
I can't imagine the pressure that.
Oh, that's got to be
and
weird
then
as fuck.
The pressure to actually do it must have been insane.
Oh, Vince McMahon wanted her to. He was like,
hey, yes, this is great for me.
This is going to be great. Hey,
right.
Listen here, pal. I told the hillbillies to take their shirts off. I'd like you to do the same, okay? How's that?
No overalls.
No overalls for you. Well, maybe, but you can put the straps down. Get those tits out. Yeah. It's going to look good. The tits.
Need you to pinch and roll the nipples.
Oh, yeah, there we go. There you go there. That's a good job. All right.
It's going to be a great one.
So she's also a celebrity contestant on MTV's Singled Out in 1997. So this is what I mean. She's living this life, but Chris is home. Like, where's Chris?
That's so weird.
That's so weird.
Isn't that a dating show, Singled Out?
Yeah, it's a dating show.
What the fuck?
She's like the celebrity one there. She ends up managing Farouk at the time in WWF, which is Ron Simmons, who's a big, giant, older black guy, which is a really weird, strange matching and pairing. Like,
meanwhile, Farouk, that seems a smidge on the racist side.
Exactly. You know? Well, they were the Nation of Domination, where there was a group of black guys who were
black
angry.
guys call themselves the Nation.
The Nation, exactly. So that's right. Yeah, they were a little. For some reason, there was all these gangs in wrestling. They had the Nation. They had the Puerto Rican guys, Los Boricuas. They had the biker gang from there. I was like, what the fuck is happening here? What is going
and
on?
And all the guys that wore like Nacho Libre masks, they all banded together for a while too. I don't think they had like a name, but like Rey Mysterio and
just,
those guys all just kind of
the lucha dudes.
Yeah, they just ran around together.
Yeah, they only fought each other because they all weighed 175 pounds. Right. So nobody 260 would wanted to fight them. Really, was the problem.
Well, the Undertaker's not doing a backflip to pin you.
No, probably not. No, that would be worth the price of admission right there. That 6'10" man, that 6'10" ginger just did a backflip. That's amazing. I've never seen anything like that before.
Rey Mysterio's doing some like sideways spin, wrapping his ankles around your neck, and then flipping you through the ropes.
He does shit.
That man,
he's made of rubber.
He is.
I've seen him hit the mat before where you're like, how do you not? That was right on your head. Right on your head. Your neck is broken, and he pops right up.
He's a junior. He had to do some bad shit.
He's not
right?
a junior,
no,
really. That's not his real name.
Okay.
There's a Mexican wrestler named Rey Mysterio.
That's right.
And he trained Rey Mysterio Jr. and kind of gave him his name because he was a popular guy in Mexico, and that would help him boost his career. Yeah. So now she goes in 1998. She goes to ECW while still under contract to WWF because WWF secretly, no one really knew it, was funding ECW, using them as kind of a farm system. While ECW was saying how terrible the big guys were, and we're the indies, and we're the fucking real thing, and they were getting checks every week from WWF.
Well, you got to get people to show up.
That's the
thing. When you finger fuck the man, you look cool.
Well, Vince McMahon would come in and they just take their guys. Yeah. So basically, he didn't want this thing to shut down, this place where he got guys from. Sure. So he gave them money to stay afloat, and so he could have a place to steal guys from. So it's one of those things.
Makes sense.
And if you're running that company, you're like, fuck it, sure, bravo. You're gonna take them anyway. Guess I'll take a check.
Give me the check.
It's either I'll take them for nothing, or I'll give you a check and we can be partners, and I'll take them anyway.
It'll be even funnier when I finger fuck you every week. And,
it's gonna happen,
and I'm gonna giggle my ass off because I'm getting money from you, and I get to tell you that you're an asshole.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah, no shit, really. So she pops in for a minute in February 1998, but she's still under contract to WWE. So she's also in WWE. She's managing the Legion of Doom, who is the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal, which is another really weird, two giant guys with crazy haircuts and face paint. One guy cut his hair to look like he had a receding hairline. He cut his hair to look like Homer Simpson on purpose. On purpose! Who does that?
Yeah.
The one guy had a mohawk and the other guy had a reverse mohawk. It was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
But they were crazy, big, badass dudes, Hawk and Animal there. So she manages them. Eventually, though, she just starts really just doing like hawking T-shirts. And, she pops up, with the WWF T-shirt on, like, get the new WWF T-shirt and blah, blah, blah. Like, that would be her role. She stopped kind of managing, and she was just kind of a salesperson at that point for them. 1999, she goes to ECW, okay? This is where things start to unravel for her because during this time, there is a burgeoning pill addiction for her. Her and Chris have really bad alcohol and pill problems.
Okay.
Both of them. Shawn Michaels is famous for having an epic pill. I mean, an unreal pill problem back in the day. Like the guys would say, like they'd be going out to eat, and he would just pass out on his plate from taking too many somas. His head would hit the fucking table, right in his food and shit like that.
Somas was his thing.
Somas was his thing. Tons of them.
That's bananas to me that people get addicted. I mean, I understand Soma.
That's all they could take too.
Really?
They got drug tested for because a lot of the guys were like, we couldn't smoke weed. We couldn't do. All we had was fucking booze and somas and booze and pills. So you could take all the pills you want. They'd give them to you. He goes, so you could fucking booze up. Nobody would mind that. And then you take a bunch of pills.
I can't imagine.
That's why a lot of them died.
Getting to a point where you take so many that you. I mean, I realize that eventually it takes that many to actually feel anything.
Yeah.
But by the time you get to that point,
so many
it's bananas.
He got so fucked up one time. Shawn Michaels is a very famous story. He got so fucked up one time that he ended up like 4 guys beat the shit out of him in a parking lot, pulled him out of the car because he passed out in the car, just fucking because he was being a dick in the bar, and he went out in the car and passed out because he was on too many somas, and they just basically beat up his fucking limp corpse, and fucked him up good.
He couldn't fight back.
No, he was fucking. No, he was spaghetti man. Yeah, total spaghetti dude.
It's so weird. Like you don't get high from somas. There's not like a fucking. It's not like
I don't know.
It's not like
it's
a muscle
somas.
relaxer.
Yeah,
it's not like it's not a fucking. It's not Vicodin.
So you can't move.
It's not Percocet.
No,
it's like I'm going to take all these and then I'm just going to sit here. Why?
No, he would just drool.
Why do you do
fucking,
that?
So
what's the fucking attraction?
She starts, and she denies all of this, okay? Now, but and I'm talking, I've heard the exact same stories from 10 different people that were around at this time that all said the exact same thing separate of each other. Yeah. She denies she says she didn't fuck anybody in ECW. She had none. She's like, oh, all those guys were gross. Yeah. Everybody in there is the exact same stories. She would basically blow anybody for pills.
Awesome.
Anybody for pills. Like Sandman, one of the ECW wrestlers, would say that like Sabu would come up to him. Sabu is a fucking legendary, insane nutcase wrestler.
Oh, that's a name that seems a smidge racist.
It's yeah. Well, his uncle is the original Sheik, old Detroit legend that trained him, and so he's kind of had to be along those same lines. So he's Sabu, but he's just a white dude from Michigan. But he's like olive-ish and has like facial hair, so you're like, yeah, he's something. But he's a psychopath. He would throw himself. He's just a fucking maniac. He's one of the guys. I mean, you see Rey Mysterio do these nice flips, pop up,
like crisp.
His were just like fucking flinging yourself into the third row of the audience. Like he was a maniac. He was so crazy. At one point, they had a barbed wire match, which is a match where the ropes are made of barbed wire.
Yeah,
and he got tangled up in the barbed wire and sliced his bicep.
Oh, fuck.
Basically sliced it, he said, so you could see bone.
Oh,
he said it was so deep it wasn't even really bleeding. Like, he cut it to the bone.
Wow.
So you think you got to leave the match at that point. He had his manager go grab some tape from the back, and he fucking taped his bicep back together and did another 40 minutes of the match.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Like, he said all the time, like, he just went in the back and glued it.
Whose idea was that? Like, what asshole?
Barbed wire?
Yeah, it was somebody that didn't get in the ring.
Extreme championship wrestling is what it is. Japan started all that shit. It's fucking Japanese are insane.
Yeah.
Have you seen their game shows?
Have
Imagine what their wrestling is like.
Fuck.
Imagine what their wrestling is like. They have explosions and electrocutions and, light, fucking hitting each other with light tubes and shit. They're insane.
But the porno is fucking disgusting.
Well, you can't even see what's going on.
Right, but that's them having fun. You know what I mean? Like, wrestling it's work. It's a job. This is sex is supposed to be enjoyable.
Not to them.
And it's no, there was poop involved, and they like cook it.
Sticky.
It's gross. Yeah, so, there's a walk involved.
So Sandman said that Sabu would basically come up and be like, I need some pills, so Tammy will blow me. Yeah. Like, she'll blow anybody with pills. And like Raven is another guy, and you know who Raven is? Raven is another guy who said that, he used to hook up with Tammy all the time.
Really?
She flew him in somewhere when she was with WWE again and to go fuck her. He said one time, the story he told was that he went to the Nassau Coliseum for a show with Chris and Tammy, and they drove there. And then he said on the way back, they got lost for like 2 hours coming back from the Nassau Coliseum, even though they've been there 300 they're both fucking from New York, and they've been to the Nassau Coliseum a million fucking times. It's like, for some reason, it was, we got lost. And then it got to the point where it was so late that Tammy was like, oh, it's too late. You just got to stay over. And he's like, all right. And he goes, this is the exact same story I've heard from fucking 10 other guys of what they do. And he said, so we get over to their house. And this is, well, what one guy says, but I mean, it fits with what everyone else says. I don't care what she says at this point. And it doesn't matter. These are all young people, but I'm saying it's just, this is your people you work with. So it's probably not that smart in a business sense. Right. Basically, they'd get back to the house, and she said, Chris fucking jumped in the shower, and she came in and blew him, and then fucking Chris and her went to bed, and then after 20 minutes she came back in the room to fuck him. Yeah,
wow.
And that was like a normal thing that people did over there.
That's her thing.
She said that they all said she fucked fucking Sabu, she fucked Raven, she fucked Hack Myers Blue Hack Myers for pills, which is like I don't know if you know who Hack Myers is, but he is one of the most disgusting looking human beings I've ever seen in my life. If I put a gun to your head and I said, blow this guy or I'll shoot you, you'd be like, what caliber you got there? Like, you would consider.
How fast is this going to go?
You got to really want pills to blow this guy, is what I'm getting at. This is what I mean. I'm not saying this to say, oh, she's a whore. I'm just saying this to say this is how strong her addiction is.
To fuck.
I don't care. This is how strong her addiction is, though. She's doing this for pills, which is not terrific here.
She's not doing this because she wants to. She's doing this because she wants to get pills.
That's exactly what it is here. Yeah, they had this I think is funny, too. Just a funny thing. I like in wrestling, every once in a while they come up with something funny, and this is so stupid it's funny. She was Sunny in ECW here with Chris Candido, and he was fighting a guy named Lance Storm, who hired a valet of his own. It's one named Dawn Marie that was around for a while, but he called her Tammy Lynn Bitch, which I thought was fucking
That's
hilarious.
Amazing.
That's really fucking funny. I think I don't know why.
Well done. That's a good pun.
It is. So early 1999, there's a bunch of stuff in 1999 about her passing out in the locker room and shit like that, like not being able to wake her up and her just due to her pill thing. And all the ECW guys said that too, or like you'd find her passed out back there.
Taking pills, man.
Yeah, she's taking way too many pills. So eventually she's actually released from ECW, which ECW is the craziest fucking nutbag place. They were all doing tons of drugs. To get fired from ECW for being a drug addict, you have to be a fucking special kind of disaster, like a special kind of fuck up.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal there. But they're hired by WCW, the one that went out of business in 2001. They're hired in 2000 when they're really tanking and going off the deep end of shittiness. So this is like just a sinking ship they're joining here. Chris Candido is all over the place. They're giving him an actual decent little run, Chris Candido. But this ends up, of course, coming to an end as well.
Yeah.
There's a men's and women's locker room there, obviously. She is in the women's locker room, and with the women in the locker room, there's women wrestlers, there's the valets, and there's the Nitro Girls.
Yeah.
Remember the Nitro Girls?
Yes.
They used to have like cheerleaders come out as they go to commercial and
They're
come back.
awesome.
Yeah, they'd come and dance, and it was like a basketball's dance team that comes out at halftime.
But like
basically.
dirtier.
But they
Much
were a little dirty. Well, they make eye contact with the camera. Right. That's all it was. They did the same thing as a halftime basketball team, except they did it while they made like sultry eye contact with the camera. Literally, that's all.
It made it feel gettable.
And the camera would go up their legs and shit. I mean, it was like Club MTV from the '80s, but Nitro Girl style. And they had a redhead and an Asian and a black one and a blonde and a tall one and a one that had like 10 extra pounds. They had like every fucking type that you could. That's literally what it was.
Something for everybody.
Something for everyone. So they all share a locker room.
That's amazing.
It's so fucking silly. So
it made it feel gettable though. Like it made it feel attainable. That like as a dude sitting on the couch watching this shit, you're like, she wants me.
That's
for
television
sure.
production right there. Yeah, that's production right there.
Like every other thing you watch, like the cheerleaders at a football game are looking at the 50-yard line wall. They're not even looking at the people. They're just looking straight ahead.
They're dead-eyed.
Right.
They're fucking. You could wave your hand.
I got to get these
face,
moves right, or I might not be out here shaking my ass next week.
Dead eyes. But this is a little bit different. Yeah, these girls. So they're all sharing this locker room.
Yeah.
And apparently one of the Nitro Girls, finds a needle and drugs in there, which is this liquid that is basically like a morphine type of thing that bodybuilders and fitness models and that sort of, it's a painkiller. Yeah. They take it after they work out because when your body's really hurting, I guess this is like a quick feel better. Sure. Take some morphine. Yeah. So anyway, they find this in the stall. So the Nitro Girl takes this to the her boss basically and says, "What do I do here?" Yeah. So they take it to management. They all out of all this, they end up blaming Sunny for it because she's the one. And it's funny about this. She talks about this and she's like, they told me they found drug paraphernalia in the ladies' locker room. And she's like, I mean, I knew I had somas in my purse, but I didn't leave those in there. Right. I could hear them rattling in my purse. Like, I know those weren't there. So what the fuck is this story? Yeah. That's her way of denying it. Like, I was doing too many somas to even fuck with that shit. Come on. So,
I had a problem, but it's not that.
Yeah. So what ends up happening is she claims that she had multiple drug tests that they failed to give her the results for weeks, but they kept her off television and wouldn't let her work, and then eventually told her that her drug test was negative for this substance, but then they fired her anyway for this incident, saying that that's her story. Yeah. She also claims at the same time that Eric Bischoff, who's the guy who ran the thing, and Diamond Dallas Page, if you remember him from the Jake the Snake episode, if nothing else, where who's doing DDP yoga now and all that shit, DDP and Bischoff were like, and this is a known thing, that they were like next door neighbors and best friends and shit. Apparently, Tammy claims that they also wife swapped and that Kimberly Page, who on TV was Dallas Page's wife, the and was like the leader of the Nitro Girls. Apparently, they would switch her and Eric Bischoff's wife, and I don't know how true that is, but I've heard it from multiple. That's one of those multiple rumor things.
So weird.
But from her, she says this happened, and so basically, if Kimberly was mad at her and wanted her out, then Kimberly could go right to Eric when she's fucking him and say fire Tammy because Kimberly was the number one heel manager at that point, and she didn't want Tammy around to steal her thunder. So that's why she said that it was her.
Framed her.
So they framed her. That's what she's saying now. So
with morphine.
So okay, whatever. So anyway, that's so she's at a WCW. So she's gone from the places where you make a living and make good money, good money, and have that sort of thing, and are on television, I should say, more like it. So they end up going to XPW, which is a fucking crazy.
That does not sound good.
No, it's a crazy one. It was in California. I saw one of the videos once where New Jack threw Vic Grimes off of top of a fucking scaffold and almost killed him. Jesus. He almost fucking killed him. The guy bounced off the top rope and bounced in the ring, or else he would have fucking hit the concrete and died.
He almost missed.
Yeah.
The ring is so big. How do you almost miss that?
They were 20 feet above it on a scaffold, and they had tables all stacked up to land on.
But I mean, you throw the guy to the right spot, you fucking maniac.
He didn't, because at one point back in ECW, New Jack used to jump off of tall things onto people, and we'll talk about this in the New Jack episode, but this guy apparently was hesitant to jump off with him at one point when he was supposed to. So New Jack jumped and this guy didn't. And so he ended up pulling him and the guy fell on New Jack.
Jesus.
New Jack still has fucked up head injuries because of it. He fractured his skull and still can't see out of one of his eyes right and shit like that. So he basically said, I wanted to kill this motherfucker, and I tried to launch him onto the concrete, and the fat motherfucker hit the ropes instead. We'll talk about that's a preview of New Jack. That's not even a crime that happened, by the way. That's just him wrestling. So that's
how he treats his job.
That's how he treats his job. So in 2001, they announced the Wrestling Vixens video.
Yes.
Triple X, by the way. VIXX. XEN video.
And nobody's fucking.
No, she just runs around showing her tits. Because she had a boob job while she was in WWE. She got giant boobs because she didn't have that.
Triple X is not, let me see your tits, by the way.
Yeah, no, Triple X.
Lying bastards.
Exactly. Yeah. You could have shown that in the newspaper in England, what they did. You know what I mean? That's bullshit.
Norway, that's how they read the news, you bastard. You lying fucks.
No shit. Jesus Christ.
False advertising sons of bitches.
Yeah. So Tammy has countless problems backstage with people. Countless problems. Someone always has a problem with her. She's very much, back then, Jim Cornette, who loves her, said about her, she's a cunt, but she's an out front cunt. He said, and I tell her that to her face all the time. It's like some of the people, they're whatever behind your back. And she goes, she's an up front cunt. So you know what you're dealing with. And I like that about her. And I was like, okay, that's fine.
That's amazing.
Some of the people didn't have quite as high an opinion of her. A wrestler named Low-Key, who I think was in TNA for a long time after that. LOW-KI. They had a big confrontation, I guess, in 2002. Apparently, he was sitting somewhere and she said that was her chair, which is like in wrestling, you can't do that shit. That's like, there's a lot of respect shit going on there, and especially if someone is a guy who's a actual wrestler, is an actual worker who goes out and takes bumps in the ring, they get precedence over shit because you know what I mean.
This shit doesn't exist without me.
Well, it's just they're taking bumps, they're getting hurt for this. So you're going to go out and yell and scream from ringside, and that's fine. It's all a part of the show, and that's great. But that guy could break his neck any minute, so give him the chair. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things. So apparently Chris Candido got involved to try to defuse the situation, and this was one of these things where he said, better get your bitch in check, is what he told her. Get your lady in line. Another time, do you remember Paul Bearer, the Undertaker's manager? He hated her, too. He had a big problem with her.
He's the creepiest fuck ever.
It was. Apparently, he walked into the locker room where it was just... He used to be a mortician, too, a real one. That's why they said he'd be perfect for that gimmick.
And then he ate all the fucking corpses or something?
He ate all of them.
He was so fucking gross.
He ate all the bagged lunches like Chris Farley. So they're in the locker room, Chris and Tammy, and Paul Bearer walks in, and he said there was a broom standing there, and he just goes, oh, there's your girlfriend's ride home, I see. Just to be like, because he liked to fuck with her. So he said,
"That's brilliant.
That's pretty funny." Yeah, and it's just in his. See, that's your girl's ride home. Like one of those. He has this kind of high pitched Southern accent, and he said Chris went out and basically broke all the furniture.
And left the broom alone.
Left him because he couldn't do anything to Paul Bearer. Because A, he's been around the business too long. He gets respect, and he's Undertaker's manager. So you're not going to do shit to him because Undertaker will rip your lungs out. Probably. He's a giant monster. So, and has lots of respect,
and still wrestles like 28 years later.
It's incredible.
It's so weird,
amazing for a tall guy like that. It's amazing. February 2004, Tammy announces her retirement from wrestling.
Wow.
For a career in, I'm going to let you guess, Jimmy. You guess right now
salary
what career you think she's giving this up for.
Oh, no.
I'll give you 3 options, 3 choices.
Is she going into...
No questions. Just a career. You're retiring from wrestling.
Scrap metal.
For a career. Okay, scrap metal, 1. 2. Let's have another one.
Car sales.
Okay, 3.
Energy drinks.
Flight attendant.
No.
I swear to God, they're all just as ridiculous, the 4 things you just said.
What the fuck?
Scrap metal, yeah, great.
Yeah.
What did you say, car salesman?
Car sales.
Flight attendant? Same thing. That's great. She said pending a test in Houston that she has to take to be a flight attendant.
What? How's your elbow? How can you throw these peanuts to the back of the plane?
I have no idea, man. This is insane. Very sad thing here. Chris Candido breaks his ankle in a match and has to have surgery for it. It's a pretty bad broken ankle.
Yeah.
And at this point, they have started to get their shit together. In 2002, 3, 4, after they had all these problems, Chris cleaned his act up drug-wise. Okay. He cleaned his act up. He really had like a resurgence in wrestling. He was in TNA for a while. Okay. And... he got his shit together. Yeah. He was good now.
And then he broke his ankle.
And then he broke his ankle in the ring and had surgery afterwards. Yep. And this isn't even where you're thinking I'm going to say he started taking pills again and all that. No, instead, he got a blood clot and died afterwards. He was fine, recovering from a broken ankle, just a blood clot freak thing that can happen after a surgery.
Wow.
Fucking
went to
died.
his lungs and over. Or
That's
brain
it.
or heart.
Yeah. Died.
Wow.
Young man, fucking dead.
That's what happened to Paul Farina.
Yeah.
Or is it Paul Farina? Dennis Farina.
Dennis Farina.
Yeah.
No, but blood clot and fucking crazy.
Unbelievable.
I mean, and everyone was like, huh?
Yeah.
Like he just cleaned himself up. Like they all expected him to die 5 years ago. That would have been like, oh, that's, But they were like, no, not Chris. What happened? Everything was going so well for him and all of this, and he dies. And this makes her like the widow of wrestling now. Mm-hmm. Now she all of a sudden, everything was great with her and Chris all the time. And blah, blah,
the sympathy
blah.
coming.
And this is when all the stories come out of like, because before it was disrespectful to Chris to say it, but once he's dead, it's like, don't stop saying how much you loved him when you fucked. Here's 20 people you fucked that I know that you fucked right in front of him, and he was my friend, and you're an asshole.
People should just drag that hack guy around and be like, don't say that, you fucked him.
Yeah, you fucked this guy. You fucked Hack Myers. He's wearing Zubas, for Christ's sake. Look at him. I'm telling you, he looks like fucking the guy from Goonies. He looks like fucking Sloth from Goonies. Like
genuinely
with
looks
fucked
just
up
like
hair.
him.
Not just like him, but he's as attractive as Sloth. So, they have the funeral for him. She's described as being very strong and
oh my god,
horrible looking man.
Wow,
she blew that guy for pills, and multiple people said it. Raven said he saw it.
Oh boy,
he said she was blowing him and jerking some other guy off for pills
at the same time.
At the same time, on the roof of some club in Miami, he was saying that happened. He was like, that was pretty fucking gross.
It's a fat, low mohawk. It's a stupid one.
And Zubas. He's wearing fucking Zuba pants.
It was just. That's just like a headshot almost.
Okay, he's a horrible man.
All right.
Horrible looking man.
That's depressing.
So
I'd be furious if that's what I'm being cheated on with.
No shit, right? So at the funeral too, TNA, the company, offered to let him be buried with the championship belt. He liked wrestling. That was very nice. She May 7th, 2005, she makes her first appearance at a wrestling event because now she's a hot commodity.
Yeah.
Because now she's Chris Candido's dead girlfriend, so now she's going to draw a crowd again. So she's a hot piece of property at this point. Yeah. She makes her first appearance on May 7th. May 8th, 2005, she is hospitalized after what she described as a minor nervous breakdown. Mm-hmm. So that's all understandable here. Mm-hmm. Now, quickly buzzing through some independent wrestling here, and then we're going to get to a fucking slew of arrests that could choke a hippopotamus.
Fantastic.
So, July of 2005, she is managing King Kong Bundy, which is insane, from the 80s. I didn't even know he was around in 2005, still wrestling, but apparently he was.
She's getting that nostalgia cock again.
That's what it is, man. Oh, he's Jesus. I hope she's not blowing him for pills. He's a giant man. Sabu, she manages Sabu in a match, who she hates now because he tells everyone that she blew him for pills. So she doesn't like him at all. I've heard her talk a lot of shit. She manages Lex Luger at one point there. Weirdest match ever. She manages Tito Santana versus Greg the Hammer Valentine in 2006.
Really?
Which was a great match in 1984.
Right.
1984, you couldn't get a better match than Tito and Greg the Hammer Valentine. In 2006... I don't know.
50-year-old guys? That's
Holy
weird.
shit. Yeah, these guys are 50, man, and she's managing them. Wow. And not a Ric Flair 50, like a Spry 50. Like, Greg the Hammer doesn't move. Like, he can't, I don't think he can, like, move his arms when he walks at this point. But he still actually looks not 100 years old, which is amazing for a guy who's been around there. She starts wrestling at some point here in like 2007. She wins some stupid championship, which is weird, super weird. I don't know what the hell she's thinking there. She's in Ring of Honor, which is another it's like kind of the top level indie promotion. Like they used to have like some deep cable show and shit like that. They're like the hardcore wrestling fans that like to watch a 30-minute match that's like, you know, guys are really working hard doing all that, and they don't want story or any of that shit. That's Ring of Honor.
Okay.
Like, those guys, that's a 5-star match, man. That guy, he did a fucking 820 off the top on him, and, you know, they rolled it. Those guys. You know,
it's too much.
I can't do that. That's not. I'm impressed with the ability and the athleticism and what they're doing, but I don't want to watch that shit for a half hour.
It's hard
fucking
to be
boring.
How are you a wrestling purist? You know what I mean? Like,
that's what I'm saying. What is that?
It's like
that's my point. What the fuck is that?
How do you get to be a wrestling purist when wrestling is phony? It's like being a soap opera
actual
purist.
Thing. It's
right.
If 5 people showed up for baseball games, they'd still play all the baseball games because they have a championship they have to give out and all that sort of thing.
Right.
Wrestling is only based on if anyone's there to watch it. So it doesn't make sense. You don't have to do
Silly.
it. It makes no fucking sense. So, I get what you're saying there. Jesus Christ, man.
Fucking purist.
Wrestling purist. Yeah, it's like whatever gets people there, I would think is pure.
Right.
If it's Hulk Hogan calling everybody brother and telling them to eat their vitamins, and that's pure.
It fucking sells.
That's what got everybody there and got all of you guys paid. And that's what it's about, right? What are we doing here? That's
We're
for me.
doing
I'm not
it for fun. We're
I'm
not doing this for
obviously
fun.
not a wrestler, but I'm liking it. I'm likening it to comedy and being like, that's what it would be about. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Hulk Hogan can't pay the legal bills when his son kills somebody if he's doing it purist.
Exactly. No one wants to see Hulk Hogan doing go-behinds and shit. Nobody wants to see that. So she ends up wrestling and managing all through the indies here through 2007, 2008. She makes an appearance at WrestleMania 25 for the WWE in 2009. She participates in the 25 Diva Miss WrestleMania Battle Royal. She did not win, but she appeared in that.
That would be fun to watch.
I'm guarantee it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just look for the Diva Battle Royal. I'm sure it's there.
I want to watch that.
And they call them the Divas, and she was the first diva of the WWE. Like, they have a show now on television, the Divas show, and it's that she was the first one.
There's so many of them now.
Yeah, she was literally, before that, they had Miss Elizabeth, who wasn't like a diva. She wasn't showing her ass. She was Macho Man's, whatever. And then they had they had Sherry, who was like a badass wrestler turned manager. She wasn't a shake your ass diva. They had Luna Vachon, who looks like she could, she looks like she could beat up Hack Myers. So I don't think that wasn't really what they were going for.
Any skag that's athletic.
Yeah, exactly. So she continues the indies after that. She's in one match where she ends up hanging out with the Iron Sheik at the end of the match and shit, which is funny. So you can picture her and the Sheik together. March 7th, 2011, she is inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's like that year it was Shawn Michaels, which is funny that they got inducted in the same fucking year. Shawn Michaels was the headliner there, basically. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who we all remember. Bullet Bob Armstrong, who was like a down south guy. He was like Kansas City, shit like that. Old man. Sonny. Abdullah the Butcher, who's the scariest man you've ever seen.
It's truly scary,
400-pound man who has just cuts all over his head. All over his head. Like all the wrestlers say, he doesn't even have to, like when you'd wrestle him, he didn't even have to cut himself anymore because it was all just scar tissue.
Just open it up.
And if you just tap him on the head, it'll open.
That's crazy.
So he didn't even have to cut himself anymore.
Oh, good Christ.
He'd just touch his head and blood would pour out. That's how much. That's fucking nuts. So, I mean, these guys live like that.
Good fuck.
Crazy, right? And the Road Warriors also inducted that year.
Very nice. Good for them.
Yeah, nice for there. Who was it that inducted her? It was she was inducted by other divas here. Let's see, I said the Road Warriors, and the celebrity inductee that year was Drew Carey.
What?
I have no idea why.
Why was Drew Carey involved in wrestling at all?
Sure, he did a segment on a WrestleMania. They put one in it. Bob Uecker's in it. Pete Rose is in it.
God.
They made a big deal out of putting Pete Rose in it because we'll put him in our Hall of Fame.
Yeah, of course.
So now,
that's so stupid.
I would say so. Now, September 11th, 2012. She is not in somber remembrance of a horrible attack on her country.
No.
Instead, she is in a physical altercation with her boyfriend.
Okay.
This is a guy named Damian Darling. Okay. He's an indie wrestler. I mean, I looked him up, and he's just like a career indie guy. He's been wrestling indies for over 10 years now, which is a tough life.
Yeah.
That's like being a road feature comic, and that's all you're doing. Like,
gross.
That's what I'm going to liken it to, being a feature. Because a headliner, you might be able to make some money now and then, but being a road feature, going around, barely making enough to, get by and travel and shit. And they do the same thing the road features do too. They have to sell merch. They have to go out and sell merch afterwards.
Otherwise, you're making $13,000 a year if you work every fucking
weekend. Yeah, absolutely, and beat the fuck out of yourself too. On top of that, so he's one of these guys. So I thought about that too. I was like, God, what a fucking lifestyle. What's wrong with these people? And I'm like, what am I talking about? I'm a fucking comedian.
I did it too.
Do it worse. Because I'm like, there's no security. You never know. What if the bookings dry up? I'm like, it's the same fucking thing. It's just, who knows? Tomorrow you might be fucking sweeping floors. You don't know.
$13,000 a year, and you are paying for your own hotel and travel.
Enjoy.
That's stupid.
That's very fucking stupid.
We spent that money. I spent almost $13,000 traveling for 1 month for us.
Yeah, between airfare and hotels and shit.
That was bananas.
That was crazy.
I was blown away by how much traveling costs.
I know. I was like, well, this is good. So we did this for the love of meeting people. That's terrific.
Thank you guys for coming. I made zero money, but it was fantastic.
Great. We had so much fun.
It was amazing.
So it really was. So at this point here, this guy is now her ex-boyfriend, is how it's being portrayed in the press. He said that there was a physical altercation between them. He told police that Sytch had started drinking again, which she can't be doing, and accused him of cheating on her.
Oh boy!
She jumped on him she jumped off of a bed onto him.
Yeah.
This is her young lady training.
Shit, yeah.
She was jumping off her parents' bed. This is the same thing. She's like, I know this. I've seen this. I've done this. And she leaped off of him and began pulling his hair. He also said that she choked him, and what he described a UFC style chokehold she put on him, because she knows how to fucking put a hold on somebody.
Sounds hot as fuck.
She's seen some holds.
Yeah.
If you saw her at this time, you wouldn't think so.
No?
It was a little... She
was drinking heavy.
I hate to say this. I hate to talk about her looks or whatever, but for her, that's kind of half of her whole thing, is her looks.
The whole appeal,
and her she got rough around this time. She did an interview where she was very much a lot larger than she used to be, which is whatever.
That's what booze does to you.
She said it was a reation to medication that she received from jail.
It's called empty calories.
Then she slimmed it back down. It's interesting.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it here, because there's some stuff later that's coming up here. Police said that Tammy was obviously intoxicated. That's in the report. But she denied that there was any physical altercation. She was charged with disorderly conduct and held in lieu of $500 bail. Protective order was issued restricting her from assaulting, threatening, abusing, harassing, following, interfering with, or stalking this Damien Darling.
Stay away.
Fucking weirdo, okay? But you can't go near. Basically, they gave her a thing that said you can't do illegal shit that you can't do anyway.
Right.
They didn't say you can't go near him. They just said you can't.
Oh, it's not a restraining order.
They said you can't. A protective order saying she can't assault, threaten, abuse, harass, follow, interfere, or stalk. Those are all illegal things anyway.
That's just the law.
Yeah, all illegal.
You have that written up too.
Yeah, everyone does.
I have it.
We all do.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
And now, back to the show. So that was September 11th, 2012. September 12th, 2012.
She didn't obey.
She is arrested for disorderly conduct, violation of a protective order, and strangulation.
Okay. That's assault.
She's held on $25,000 bond and arraigned in the New Haven Superior Court. They returned to the home again. There's a report of domestic violence. They met with Damien, who said that she was shit-hammered and climbed through the kitchen window to get into the house. Wow. Imagine this.
Your drunk significant other climbing through the fucking window.
Grace has long passed, man. He said there was no physical altercation, so she didn't violate the protective order. The police left at that point because they're like, well, she's technically allowed to be here. If everything's cool, I guess we'll leave. The police left but waited in the parking lot.
Yeah.
They were like, we'll stick around.
We're gonna be coming back.
Yeah.
Did you see how drunk she was?
This isn't going to last.
She went in the window.
The piece isn't going to last. She didn't look like she was in the sleepy stage yet. So then it says officers, this is in the report, they observed, quote, Sytch pushed the man into the residence, and shortly thereafter, the man started signaling to officers to return to the residence. He literally started waving
Come
him
on
in.
back, guys.
Come on, guys. Never mind. Back in. They're just hanging out waiting for her to fuck up.
Yeah.
Just wait. She's going to be out. I'm telling you.
I wonder if that protective order,
fuck?
if you document that she is aware that she can't do those things and then she does them, I wonder if it makes it worse.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Do you know you're not allowed to assault someone?
Because I mean, there is the added. You can say, I didn't know I couldn't do that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You can say
she
that.
knew. A judge told her, so she knew.
We got paperwork showing that she knew.
You signed something. Right. So he said that once the cops left, she grabbed him by the throat and choked him, making it hard for him to breathe. Now, he is a professional wrestler, too. He's not a 140-pound guy.
Not me.
No, he's a decent-sized dude.
Yeah.
He says she also pulled his hair. At that point, she is arrested and held in lieu of $25,000 bail, charged with, like we said, disorderly conduct, protective order violation, and strangulation. That is September 11th and 12th.
Yeah.
September 13th. She is charged with violating a protective order.
Oh, my God.
She returned to the home. She was arrested and charged with violating the protective order. She told police that he told her to come there.
Yeah.
She's held in lieu of $2,500 bail. I don't know why that is this time. This is the third arrest now in 3 days for the same exact fucking thing.
Right.
She's released into the custody of her sister, Denise Stone, who said that she was going to take her to a rehab facility in New Jersey, which is probably best for all concerned.
Yeah.
At this point, WWE releases a statement concerning all of this. The statement reads, quote, "As a part of WWE's former talent program, we sent Miss Sytch to rehabilitation 3 times, all with all costs covered by WWE."
Yeah.
By the way, if you don't know this, WWE has a policy, and we'll find out why, because he was forced to say why under oath in front of Congress at one point.
Awesome.
So we know why he does it, but if you've ever wrestled, basically, for anybody that was ever on television, like any of the WWF, AWA, WCW, any of these old places that Vince has now bought all the libraries for and bought all their names and all that shit, and you have a drug problem or an alcohol problem, you can tell the WWF and WWE and they will send you to rehab on their dime.
That's nice.
Because it's bad PR when their wrestlers keep fucking dying.
Right.
It looks terrible.
It looks
for them.
shitty if they don't try to help.
It looks awful when it's like, that guy made a lot of money, then you fired him, he went away, did drugs for 10 years and died. That doesn't look great for you. Like, it looks like you're kind of shitty at that point.
The NFL might start thinking about Junior Seau shooting himself in the fucking chest.
That's,
you know what I mean?
Thank you. Well,
no, it's
all silver-haired, baby.
Yeah,
all of
I
it. It's
get
all
it.
silver behavior.
But how about you guys protect yourselves? It's bad fucking PR. We know what you're doing, you fucking jerks.
That's the thing. We know exactly. Later on, wait till you hear his quote on the whole thing. October 8th, 2012, this is a mere weeks later, she's arrested again. She is charged with disorderly conduct, criminal mischief, and 3 counts of violation of a protective order. This is at her boyfriend's house again.
Going back to Chris.
Back again. No, this is Damien. Damien
Jesus.
again. It's funny, too, because in one of the interviews that she does, he is there. You hear her keep talking to him, like because she's talking about guys she fucked, and she's like, he doesn't know about this one. Blah, blah,
oh
blah.
my God!
And she's like, he's mad at me because I didn't fuck Bret Hart. He loves Bret Hart. He's like, everybody you fuck, you couldn't have fucked him. It's like, what a weird relationship.
What a weird conversation.
Yeah, on camera,
That's
no less.
somebody that knows her number. You know what I mean? Like that gross, disgusting. You don't talk about that
weird
number.
Shit, man.
That's the worst.
No, they were talking about it. Basically, it's a show called You Shoot. It's the kayfabe commentaries guys do it, and it's a show where if you do the show, it's all questions from the internet and you got to answer them.
Yeah.
So one of them was, how many wrestlers have you fucked?
Oh, God.
And so she had to go through the list, and she went through a very, very trimmed down list that did not include all the gross people that we discussed. She talked mainly about Shawn Michaels and Davey Boy.
Sounds like she talked about the ones that she did not for pills.
That's exactly what it was, I feel like. Yeah. Or she blew the guys for pills. I don't
the
know
ones that you fucked with the intention of your climax being the pay for it.
Exactly.
Right.
So in this one where she's arrested, she's found intoxicated and sleeping at 7 p.m. On a Monday, which obviously violates the protective order and of the domestic violence charges here. Her boyfriend here, Damien, told police he came home about 5:30 and found her passed out on the couch. That's his story. Police found an empty bottle of alcohol on a table near the couch that she'd been on.
Yeah.
And there was a large hole in the bathroom door. That is because... Jesus Christ.
I want it to be Bacardi so bad.
No. He said, Damien, it's Bacardi.
Yeah, it's Bacardi.
Damien said she was in the bathroom yelling and rambling and then kicked down the door. That's why there's a hole in it, because she kicked it down from the inside for some reason. Police found Tammy on the bedroom floor under a large white blanket. She just hid under a blanket. Officers pulled back the blanket and told her to get up several times, but she refused. She said, I'm sleeping. Go away. I don't want any. Do not disturb.
Yeah.
I put the thing on the door.
Right.
I think you should go now.
Get out. My foot hurts.
Yeah. Officer said she appeared to be drunk, slurred her speech, and smelled of alcohol.
Yeah.
They said that Damien said they've been dated for several months. She lived with him for 2 months, and she has a problem with alcohol. She's been in rehab all the time. She ends up being arraigned. Her public defender, she had a public defender certified intern speaking on her behalf, which sounds awful. That sounds like a person that just goes, so how much jail time does it? Okay. Cool.
Certified public intern. The intern part is the scary part.
I would say
I don't want
public defender's a scary thing. Public defender intern? Are you out of your fucking mind? No.
I don't get charged for this person and nobody's paying them.
No one's paying
That's what's
him.
happening.
This is just fuck.
This is somebody speaking on my behalf. They're making no money for this.
Well, they need to make mistakes, dear.
They're doing this on the contingency that they need to learn?
Yeah.
No. Anytime I've ever done anything that made me need to learn, it was very painful.
Absolutely.
I was going to get my ass kicked.
Yeah, that's the case. This lawyer says that she went back to the home because she didn't have her cell phone and didn't know how to ask the police for an escort, because she could have just asked the cops, can I get my stuff out of there, and they would have taken her there and got her shit out. But instead, she just went there and is arrested. That's October 8th. October 9th,
oh my God,
2012, she is arrested again for 3 violations of a protective order, being held on $100,000 cash bond this time.
There was only 6 conditions in the protective order.
She violated all of them. 3 of them. All of them. Out the window. She's not supposed to be drinking either.
No,
that's another thing
right.
based on court shit. This is in Branford, Connecticut. Jesus Christ. 5th arrest in a month, in case you're not keeping charge here. After her last arrest the day before, there's another protective order set against her that prevents her from coming within 100 yards of him or contacting him.
Now you're talking.
And to stay away from her home. She was released on the $25,000 bond following the arrest. A bail bondsman dropped her off down the street from his home at 4:00 p.m.
What?
He said, "I want return business." What the fuck?
She's going to get arrested again. I may as well drop her off a few doors
fuck
down.
It. So you'll be calling, what, about 8 p.m. tonight, sweetheart? All right, sounds good. I'll see you then, honey. All right, bye. Have a good one. He hands her a fucking bag lunch for the day. See you later. See you tonight. She's got a thermos from him and shit.
You got a stew cooking. I'll see you at home.
Okay, I'll get the crock pot's going, honey. All right, then. So she gets dropped off right down the street. She went into the home, climbed up the balcony, and entered through an unlocked door on the balcony. Yes, an off-duty police officer saw a woman matching her description, scaling a fucking building at 33 Stone Ridge Lane, and she's not permitted to be there. The officer went in the home and found her inside and arrested her. She told law enforcement she was there to gather her belongings, but she was there for the last time. They told her, "You can't do that. You're arrested. Come tell us." She said she knew her boyfriend wouldn't be home, so she believed she wasn't in violation of the restraining order to stay away from him by going into an unoccupied residence. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, it says go near his home, right on the fucking, I saw the thing. So
remember the 100 yards of his home part?
Remember that part?
Right.
She says in court that she admitted that she was not thinking clearly when she went back there, which is obviously that's an understatement. That's why you're here, sweetheart, because you're not thinking clearly.
It's funny that you put clearly on the end.
Clearly. So just not thinking.
You're
would
not
have been
thinking
fine.
at all.
That's fine. She's being held in lieu of $100,000 cash bail. Her 5th arrest in a month, like we said. These are 3 counts of violating a protective order and burglary because she broke into the fucking house too.
That is amazing.
Oh my God,
5 in a month. Have you ever done anything?
No, I've done nothing 5 times in a month.
I've never done anything illegal. I mean, that's arrestable.
That's
5 times in a
like
month.
a serious. No, nothing like that. She's released now on a promise to appear on the condition that she enters an inpatient rehab facility. The WWE has a statement to give about this again, because now everybody just keeps asking them. Every time she gets arrested, they call them up, and they're like, "What do you guys say?" This is Kevin Hennessy issues this statement. He says, quote, "As a part of WWE's former talent rehabilitation program, we sent Miss Sytch to rehabilitation 3 times, all costs covered by WWE," reiterates that, and then says, "Unfortunately," he adds something this time, "Unfortunately, Miss Sytch continues to make poor personal choices. WWE will continue to provide assistance should she want to take advantage of it." So no matter how many times we send her to rehab, she's a fuck up. So sorry, is what they said. I don't know what to tell you. Now, December comes around of this year, 2012. The judge modifies the protective order to allow Tammy to contact Damien so they could talk as a part of her ongoing inpatient rehabilitation work. Okay. I guess that was part of her treatment or whatever.
She's got to apologize and
that
atone
sort of
or
shit.
some shit?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was in late December. January 9th, 2013, Damien and Sonny are engaged.
Oh, my God. They atoned all the way to
all the way to engaged.
How do you atone that far after this?
Fuck. This is, by the way, he had called her after last time she was arrested. He said, when she drinks, she is a, quote, uncontrollable violent demon.
Will you marry me?
Will you marry me? Yes. She says she plans to leave her wrestling career and pursue her chiropractor's degree.
Yeah.
Wow. She also said she's going to sell her wrestling WWE Hall of Fame ring and just kind of be
done with the whole
thing. So everything's fine. Moving on.
Yeah.
Happily ever after, right, Jimmy? This can't end poorly, right? I would say.
He had a skywriter right leg.
Yeah.
Marry me, Tammy.
Marry me, psycho.
He called her a fucking straight up demon.
An uncontrollable, violent demon. Not just a demon or a violent demon, one that you can't even control.
Right. Skywriter, marry me, demon.
Marry me, baby. So this leads to, that's January 9th. January 29th, 2013, she's arrested again.
Jesus.
She is arrested. She appears in New Haven, Connecticut court. It's a $100,000 bond. She's remanded to be held. Wow. She says that she was lured to the home of her ex-boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Her attorney said that she doesn't have a car, and so she says that they say that he must have picked her up, or she took an Uber, got a ride, or took the bus, or couldn't possibly get there on the day of the incident, brought her to his house and requested they move in together despite the protective order. So they say the police report says that she claims that at the time of her arrest, she'd been given a key and had been living there for 2 weeks, which makes sense because they announced their engagement about 2.5 weeks ago. So that kind of makes sense. So she says that happened. She says that she was assaulted by him, and then she self-medicated by drinking alcohol after she was assaulted.
To feel better?
To feel better about being in pain from being beaten up. So she files a criminal complaint back.
Oh, James, she's a demon when she drinks, though.
She's a demon. Well,
this is not good.
This isn't good. So she files one back, a lawsuit back. She says in court, quote, "I don't think it's fair to me. I was the one abused," she says while she's crying in court. I don't know. He's being treated by paramedics for his many strangulation scratches and who knows? Maybe he hit her back. I don't fucking know.
Who knows?
Maybe he hit her too. I don't have any idea. This is the first time. This is the first time she's even claimed that he hit her.
Okay.
But it's also her 6th arrest, and it's kind of like, what are you doing? Stop fucking going to this guy's house. Stop being together with this guy. Clearly, it just keeps leading to you being arrested.
Right.
But at the same time, they announce their engagement. The whole thing's a fucking mess. This is fucking ridiculous here. Her attorney makes a good point that, the boyfriend bears some responsibility with this whole thing. I'll call this a wash.
She's at this point in 2 months. She's averaging more. She's averaging 3 arrests a month, which is more touchdowns than most wide receivers average in a month.
Absolutely. This is six since September.
Right.
September to January, 6 arrests.
Stupid.
Her lawyer asks the judge to allow her to have psychiatric testing to assess the root of her mental health issues. Stop drinking.
Right.
That's the whole thing. You're an alcoholic.
Right.
I don't know.
You probably got a chemical balance
bipolar in there.
Right,
I have no idea. You have alcoholism. Your dad was clearly an alcoholic.
Right.
So that's a problem there. She ends up serving 114 days in jail this time.
That's
on this.
a lot.
Yeah, they end up sitting her in there.
4 months.
Unbelievable, right? I mean, Jesus Christ. She's sitting in there in fucking jail, and she was in and out of the psych ward too of the jail and all that type of thing.
And that 4 months, she probably in that entire time didn't have any clue how long she was going to be in there. So it's just an indefinite fucking stay.
Weird. Yeah, and she doesn't know, like I'm sure she doesn't have all the friends she used to have and all that kind of thing.
Despair sets in.
I'm telling you, from what I understand, she only had one visitor this whole entire time. One visitor while she was in here, and it was my grandma. And she said... How is it you've come to arrive here? Ma, why are you here? Come here, sweetheart. You're so beautiful. You're a nice-looking young girl. You're so nice. Why didn't you find a nice husband? You get married, you have nice life instead of Putan. You're a putan. All a putan. With the so many, with the so many men, you ruin yourself. Oh, my look. But now you fat, you wrinkly. It's nobody wants you now. I'm sorry, sweet. Nobody wants you. It's okay.
Oh,
it's
burn.
okay. And poof, and a poof of marinara sauce and homemade macaroni. She's gone. By the way, that is nothing harsher than she said to her daughters that I know of.
Ma, you're so fat.
She'll say, if my mother gains 5 pounds, she'll go, Ma, why you look so fat, Angela? She'll say that to her. So that was literally, I wasn't like a guy calling, that was literally what my grandmother would have said to her.
That's amazing.
100% channeling grandma.
You ruined yourself.
Ma, you ruined yourself.
Ma, you're so fat.
Ma, you're so fat now, she'd say. That's what she'd say. Ma, you look terrible. She'll tell people, she'll tell anyone that. Ma, you look terrible. What's wrong with you? What? By the way, Grandma had another surgery for the heart valve 2 days ago. Came out, flying colors. She's doing great. Doing great, so she should be alive for a while longer now. So that's good. Good for Grandma. So I had to do Grandma as a salute to Grandma.
That's fantastic.
Today. She's looking great. Don't let her tell you any different. Damian Darling here talks about. We have some quotes from him on Tammy, which I find funny, just because he's involved in this shit.
Of course, because he fucking keeps bringing her back.
Yeah,
that's hysterical.
It's fucking ridiculous. He says, let's just have some quotes here. Just because you go on Facebook or you go on Twitter and pretend like you're so successful and happy and you're a Hall of Famer or whatever, that's not reality. No disrespect to a WWE Hall of Fame ring, but a WWE Hall of Fame ring and $1 will get you a bag of Doritos at a deli. She went to 3 different rehabs in our relationship. The first time she went to rehab for 30 days. She came out of that rehab and had so much medication, which was overprescribed for her. Before you know it, you're filming a show or you're filming a shoot interview and you're fucking 3 pills deep and you're not yourself. That's the one I saw, what I told you about. She said
3 pills makes her somebody else.
Apparently, after you've been in rehab for a while, maybe if you've had a few before
3 pills
that,
ain't shit.
Well, I don't know how much she's taken.
Yeah.
So on why their relationship didn't work out, he said, "quote I think maybe Tammy thought she'd have some boyfriend that she could move in with that would come home from work and she'd be fucking passed out drunk, that would wash her and clean her up, and because she was who she was, would manage to pull through. That's not me. One day I came home and she was passed out and there was an empty bottle of vodka on the floor." Not Bacardi's. The first thing I did was pick up the phone and call WWE and get one of the representatives that handle their rehab facility on the phone. They would have sent a cab right over or would have picked her up and took her right to rehab. WWE Rehab is amazing. They will absolutely send a cab to your house, pick you up, and find you the best rehab facility in the country. She says Sonny is eventually at one point accused him of sexual abuse.
Oh, no.
Darling. He says it was reported in the newspaper by her attorney, who made some statements that she had broken ribs. When I first read that on a Monday morning, like the entire world did, the first thing I did was I went to the police department. They pulled me aside and said, listen, she was arrested on Friday. She was fine. She was here in custody on Saturday. She was fine. She saw her lawyer on Sunday. An hour and a half later, they filed a criminal complaint against you for assault and sexual assault. They had her x-rayed and said she had no injuries and absolutely no signs of any sort of sexual assault. So I was never charged or investigated or anything. Her accusations of me breaking her ribs are just what they are. Lies.
Wow.
Lies. So
she's a nut.
That's what he said.
And that's the problem with fucking rape allegations. It's allegations like that one.
Well, the problem with ones that aren't.
Right. That's what it is. It discounts anybody that's actually fucking raped.
Yeah.
Or beaten, whatever.
She says, by the way, later on, this is a quote that we'll have to. Okay. She accuses him of giving her HPV.
Awesome.
Okay. Meanwhile, she's fucking slept with everybody under the sun. But he's the one. Gave her HPV. She said, we'll get into this later, but she says that while she's having a problem later on, that she had cervical cancer because he gave her HPV. This was like 6 months later. So
Jesus,
that doesn't. She might have had precancerous cells, which is a thing that you have, and they have them removed.
They had a cyst. Whatever.
Yeah. So anyway, we're not vagina experts, but I know there's precancerous cells that they remove, and then they have to keep getting checked to make sure that they don't come back.
Sure they come back. Right.
But yeah, that happens. It's very common. He says about her, quote, when she was released from prison, a normal person would maybe call your mom or your family or your friends. The first thing Tammy did when she was released from prison was call TMZ. She called TMZ.
I had an irregular pack.
and said that she was writing an autobiography and that she was cured of cancer. She accused me of giving her an STD that was a HPV that turned into cervical cancer. HPV is an STD that could turn into cervical cancer, only it takes like 7 to 8 years for HPV to actually turn into cervical cancer. So that means that 8 years ago when I was a freshman in high school, I was not the guy that was banging Tammy Sytch. So...
Well done, sir. Nice job.
Yeah. And finally, the final straw for him in the relationship, as he puts it, quote, she was arrested 6 times. It really wasn't until the last final time she was arrested in my apartment. I came home, the same thing happened again, only this time it was so fucking violent and dangerous. When you have a drunk woman attacking you with bottles and knives and hammers and whatever else, there's not a whole lot you can do.
Holy shit.
The last time we were together, it was very dangerous. There was a moment, I'll be honest, I fell on my ass and broke down and cried. There was a moment where I just had this vision in my mind of newspaper articles of one of us being dead because it was getting that bad, like Chris Benoit and Nancy, something crazy. It was dangerous, and I never had been in a relationship like that before. Only difference is they'd only know who one of you was in the newspapers. It would say Tammy Sytch kills man.
Right.
That's what it would say.
Tammy Sytch kills boyfriend.
Or man kills lover. Tammy Sytch. That's the difference.
He'd be live-in lover. If that's your fucking, if that's your ring name, then yeah, you'd be worldwide.
That's a good point.
Live-in lover.
Live-in lover. May took just concubine.
Tammy Sytch kills concubine.
Kills concubine. That's a fucking headline right there.
How's that for fucking demasculation, you motherfucker?
Yeah, he made himself a little overimportant there with the whole headline thing. Calm down, Chief.
I had visions of headlines.
I had visions of page 7 on the bottom lower right-hand corner. Former wrestling manager kills concubine.
In the back, in the corner, not even front and center, you motherfucker.
No. May 21st, 2013, she's out of jail. Page 7.
Not even page 6.
Nope.
Not even where the gossip starts.
Page 7, bitches.
Next page, buddy.
Page 8.
Next to the fucking crossword.
That's right. And the ads for fucking tires and oil changes and shit back there.
Kills concubine. All right, sorry.
May 21st, 2013. She's out of jail.
Okay.
Fresh out.
Yeah.
She says in a statement provided by her lawyer, she says, quote, thank God it's over.
Yeah.
He says, quote, she's very happy to put this entire ordeal behind her. Tammy thanks all of her fans and friends for their support through this ordeal. Tammy looks forward to moving on with her life and has many plans, including going back to school and continuing to pursue her love of animals.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you pursue a love of animals? What does that mean?
I pursue it every day. I look at pictures and shit.
That's not a profession, though. No. You know, pursue your love of animals. I pet my dogs. I'm pursuing my love of animals.
You are.
Here, buddy. There you go.
I cut dingleberries off his ass, pursuing the love.
Get short-haired dogs. That's what I do. I don't love them that much. So, you just dropped onto the table. That's pretty funny. I just watched Jimmy go down.
Sometimes when I clean his ass up, I think that. I go, how much do I give a shit about this guy?
Shouldn't I just shave him every month?
Then he turns
it's
around.
Hot out here.
Then he turns
That's
around me and
selfish,
kisses me, and I go,
you're like, all right, fine.
Me.
Give me the scissors, fucker. Also says Tammy wants to send a special thank you to her sister Lori, who is a guardian angel throughout this difficult phase in her life. Then she talks about the HPV. Yeah, she says she found
She's
out
that girl.
Yeah, she found out while doing time that it developed into cervical cancer. She says she underwent a hysterectomy at the area hospital a couple weeks ago and is now cancer free. That's a big opera. Might have been one of those partial deals, but I don't know about that. That's true or not.
That's like
we don't know how true that is.
Have an arm, like a cancer in a bone on your arm, and you like cut your arm off, and you're like cancer free,
baby. Yeah,
just took it out,
took it all out. But I mean, maybe that because she was in her 30s at that point, so she could have had a hysterectomy. I think if she's in her 20s, they would have gone as far as they could to not do that. Because I know they do that.
Vicious way to solve HPV. Meanwhile, you're not solved and cured because you've still got HPV, and that causes throat cancer, causes all kinds of things.
Not for her.
It's linked to it.
Yeah, not for her though.
Really?
No.
Is that only for dudes?
you don't get throat cancer from your own vagina.
No, but it's in your blood. It's not just in your vagina. You know what I mean?
No, that's kind of where it is though, because that's where
the HPV virus can also
it's a
cause
weird thing.
throat cancer. Because that's what happened to fucking what's his fuck?
Michael Gordon Gecko there, Michael Douglas.
Yeah. His wife's pussy gave him throat
cancer.
Romancing
the stone, asshole.
And he came back. He married her.
See? What happens, man? Love does strange things to you.
My wife gives me the flu. I'm gone. Goodbye.
She says at this point she's going to, she used her time in prison to write an autobiography and plans to make a fresh start in New Mexico, of all places. What? Okay? So she is on conditional discharge for the next 2 years, provided that she doesn't show up where she's not welcome and blah, 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 blah. She's talking shit, fresh out of jail. In June, she's talking shit, talking about the new divas are bullshit compared to her.
Okay.
Said, I find it fascinating that so many women are now strive to be a WWE diva. I'm so happy I helped make that occupation a glamorous one back in the prehistoric days of not-so-glamorous lady wrestlers.
Well, she's just on the porch of a trailer in New Mexico.
Yeah, that's what she said, double wide. She's like, just like home. She says, then I came along and everything, and anything they threw at me I could do. I could get in the ring and have a match. I managed at ringside. I co-hosted TV shows. I did broadcasting. I did the modeling. I was the first one. My definition of diva is that all-around, well-rounded performer.
Okay.
Best buns, 96.
Yeah. She says, she strokes a trophy that's a coppered or bronzed ass.
Exactly. See? Best ass.
What town did she move to in New Mexico, did they say?
She didn't move to New Mexico.
Oh, okay.
That was what she was planning on doing, which just sounded good.
Never
sounded different.
Right.
I'm good now. I'm going all the way there. Book comes out. The opening of the book. Let's have a little little theater here of this, and we'll see what she says here. Quote, I'm lying under my hospital green sheet and blanket, excited that I received this writing tablet from the commissary today. Yes, that is the highlight of your week when you're an inmate at a women's state prison. Inmate number 393257 to be exact. You're probably wondering why I'm here, right? Well, to put it plainly, the man I loved most in the world and whom I thought loved me put me here. Yup. My fiancé, Damien, the man I was going to marry. Just 29 short days ago, he put a ring on my finger and asked me to be his wife. I said yes. That's the opening of her book. Very opening is like...
He put me here.
He's a dick and I'm in jail because of him because he's a fucking asshole.
Because I accepted his his marriage proposal.
Yeah. He said, she said that... She loved him. She said it was the first time she'd ever been officially proposed to. She said that the sex was so good that she didn't want to let go.
Yeah.
She says he was one of the sexiest men I've ever been with. The way his curly long hair would blow in the breeze, the way his smooth caramel skin felt against mine, the way he would saunter up to me sensually when he wanted to make love. His big green eyes sparkling when he looked at me. It was enough to make me melt.
Yes.
On the other hand, he lived in a pigsty of a dumpy apartment, barely held a job at a home restoration company making $10.50 per hour, and his one and only credit card was still being managed by his mommy. He was always behind on his rent, and each time I moved back in, I had to clean up his bills.
Wow.
So those are two different paragraphs about the same guy.
Yeah.
I would say. Wow.
Buddy, fuck's great.
Fuck's great. See previous paragraph. So that's like the pre-chapter 1 here.
Yeah.
That's the foreword. That's the foreword. That's the dedication to Damien.
As I sit here,
the
beneath
best
my
dick
green...
dumpiest apartment and fucking asshole going for putting me in a green shitty sheet. Thank you. Chapter 1. Chapter 1 starts out with a Bible quote.
No.
I swear to God, no. Jimmy. A fucking Bible. Are you joking? Are you out of your fucking mind, Tammy?
Does it name the verse and everything?
Listen, lady, I've been with you up to this point.
I've been rooting for you,
I'm rooting
Tammy.
for you, and I'm saying, you know what, man? It's a fucking hard life, and wrestling's tough, and I know comics are crazy. Yeah. It's the same fucking way, and I get it, and I root for you, and I hope you're doing well. And then she puts a fucking Bible quote in there, and I'm like, fuck you. Eat
Chapter
dicks.
1, Romans,
I hope you get arrested
13:4.
6 more times, which, by the way, she does. Stay tuned. Watch out. It's coming. Her thing is Matthew 10:16.
Okay.
Behold, I send you out as sheep amidst the wolves. So be shrewd as serpents and innocent as doves.
Mm-hmm.
She says, this is scripture from the New Testament. This scripture from the New Testament is easily my favorite because it applies to every aspect of my life, especially now.
She has a favorite.
She has a favorite. This is the one I saw one time.
Right.
So I wrote it down.
This is the only one I know.
Technically my favorite.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say. So May 30th, 2015, Tammy is stopped by Mahoning Township Police in Pennsylvania after being seen driving erratically into a Walmart parking lot.
Okay.
That is the bottom right
Beautiful.
now. Once you've been seen driving erratically into a Walmart parking lot, you showed up at Walmart shit-faced.
Yeah.
It's over, man. Blood test shows she had a 0.25 blood alcohol level.
That's a lot.
Which is a fucking lot of fucking alcohol in your blood.
That's half dead.
That's I wouldn't be able to walk if I was. You had to be an alcoholic.
That's a lot.
To be able to walk and drive and just get around and
that's
be
3
functional.
times the legal limit.
You have to be an alcoholic to do that because I'd be I'd be sleeping if I had that much booze in me. So that is May 30th, 2015. June 1st, 2015. Tammy is pulled over after her car crossed the solid yellow line several times and then entered oncoming traffic on a road in Layton, Pennsylvania. She was unable to provide proof of insurance or a driver's license and was identified only after the authorities checked the records with her license plates and all that. The trooper said that reported her eyes were bloodshot and glassy and that she smelled of alcohol. They also found Bacardi. Well, actually, we found it's Coors Light.
Is that a thing?
She had a 12-pack of Coors Light bottles in the car with an open one or an empty one sitting there, and the cap was on the floor of the passenger side. So she just got one, cracked right into it. The other 11 were unopened, so that's good.
Nice.
She claimed she'd been drinking the night before, was just driving to pick up eggs and milk, very innocent.
Right.
And when she was but then they asked her to get out of the car, and she staggered and had problems with her balance and needed to lean on her car to maintain uprightness.
Yeah.
So
that's how hammered she was last night.
Oof, man, last night was I tied one on. I got to be honest with you.
I'm still hammered.
Blood alcohol level here, 0.30.
Whoa.
Fucking higher than the day before.
From the day before.
God damn, man. Holy shit.
If her story's accurate, she had to be a 0.7 yesterday.
She got out. Yeah. So, I mean, she got out of jail and started drinking again.
0.3.
Damn. June 30th, 2015, Jimmy. Tammy crashes her car into a ditch in Towensing Township, Pennsylvania. 10:40 p.m. Claiming to the cops that her GPS had told her to make a. This is the best. This is a great excuse. This is amazing. This is awesome. A second, you knew exactly where I'm going.
Oh, that hurts.
GPS told her to make a, quote, sudden turn, which caused her to turn wide and end up in a ditch.
Holy shit.
Turn into that ditch now. Now, right now. Crash. It told me to. I don't know.
The Damien programmer.
Holy fuck.
Trying to kill her.
She told the cops she was unable to back the car out. It was stuck in the ditch. It was a 2008 Dodge Caliber. So that's what she's driving in 2015.
That's not good.
So things are not going great for this woman here.
This is a little shitty hatchback.
It is. This is in the intersection of Gun Club Road and Forest Inn Road. So that's amazing, though.
She got the Caliber with GPS, though, or she's probably got it on her phone?
That's probably on her phone.
That's for sure.
Or one of those little ones you stick to the windshield.
Right. And it's old and it doesn't know that a ditch was dug there.
No, they dug a ditch there 4 years ago.
She didn't update the file? That's hilarious.
No. She's got no computer. She can't update the fucking thing. She doesn't know how to hook it up. It's a mess.
There used to be a road here.
She lost the mini USB that goes to it. She's like, I don't fucking know what to do here. So,
That's awesome.
The officer said he detected the odor of an alcoholic beverage, and she also had glassy, bloodshot eyes and slurred speech.
Yeah.
Based on her history, let's go ahead and say she's drunk. They have her perform field sobriety test, but she said she was in too much pain due to her recent blacking out and falling down the stairs. So she had recently done that. So,
holy shit, she's a mess.
Yes, they placed her under arrest, and she took a breathalyzer test back at the barracks. So this is like an hour later, and it was still 0.078.
Okay.
So she was a little drunk.
Under the limit.
Under the limit right then.
Barely.
And I don't know what's with that state's. Pennsylvania, I would assume it's like 0.16 in Pennsylvania because it's Pennsylvania.
It's
like
0.30 there.
Listen, we're all a little hammered, all right? Let's not get carried away here. We're not going to, no one's going to, we're all a little fucked up. We understand that shit, so just don't worry about it.
The closer you get to Philly, the higher it gets.
Try to stick to the woods when you're driving. That's all. Just stick to the woods.
Watch out for the fucking ditches.
Go ahead. Watch out for ditches. Nobody used GPS. They don't know shit about this place. The police said she doesn't have a valid driver's license in any state in the union.
Nowhere.
Yeah. Not a goddamn thing here.
Are they calling her Tammy Ditch now?
Yeah. Tammy Ditch.
That's great.
Now, she says she claims on social media that she was not arrested for DUI when she crashed her car because she wasn't drinking. She actually had a seizure that caused her to crash into a ditch.
Oh, Jesus.
That's what she says then.
No more GPS excuse.
Nope. September 25th, 2015, Tammy is arrested. Shocker, in Pennsylvania on an outstanding bench warrant. The court issued the warrant when she missed 3 hearings in May for DUI, careless driving, driving on a suspended license.
3 of them.
Three different hearings. She's in custody there. She's waiting for her bail amount to be set. December 12th, 2015, Chris Candido's brother and family produces, but the brother is the main producer, produces a documentary on Chris Candido.
Nice.
Yes, and it does not portray her in a very good light. As you might imagine, his brother might not paint her in a good light. She writes on Facebook about this. Here we go. Let's let it fly. Quote,
how much Bacardi did she have before this?
She had a fucking IV hooked up next to her. She's like flicking it with her finger. Yeah, that's good. The bubbles are out. Let's do this.
Keep that drip going.
Come on, Facebook. She said, quote, a message to all of Chris Candido's family and friends. Go watch the trailer that his drug addict of a brother made. That is all bullshit. They never supported him in anything he did unless they could gloat about his WWF status and get free tickets. I was there. I lived it with him for 16 years. I was there for the good, the bad, and the horrible. He died doing what he loved to do. And for 10 years now, I get blamed for not getting him to the hospital soon enough. Gee.
He died. He loved blood clots? What are you talking about?
Apparently, she was like, will you shut up? I am blowing a guy. Come on with your blood clots. Yes, but she says she gets blamed for not sending him to the hospital too soon. That's not fair to blame her for that, I'll say. I don't know anything anyway. Quote, while the doc reassured me there was nothing I could do. Shame on me. Fuck all of you who think otherwise. Those who know me and him know the real story. So go support a false documentary about his life and make that family that didn't give a shit about him money. Sad bastards they are. If you remember correctly, I have never tried to profit off his death while many others have. Many. Exclamation point. So many, quote, memorial shows. Where did the money go? Not to me, not to pay his outstanding bills, nowhere but to the promoter's pocket. I wasn't even given an option on his burial. I was told he was being cremated and had no say-so because we weren't legally married. Yeah, that was my family. Fuck them. Tamerlane Sytch.
That's the law, honey.
That's
you're not married. You don't. By the way, you had to pay his outstanding. You're not married. They don't get to go after you for his outstanding medical bills.
They didn't.
All that shit washes. That's what didn't she just say? I had to pay his outstanding medical bills.
Not to me. Not to pay his outstanding. I don't know if that was for him or his family.
You don't have to deal with that anyway.
I remember hearing a story about a check that was like one of his last checks that somebody had that they. She tried to get it from him.
You're not married to him. You're not entitled to it.
It's a big fucking deal here.
This is why gay people wanted to get married, because of this situation.
Exactly. This
is not your problem, dear.
No.
You're not married to him.
Nope. His mom should have to say at that point. So especially since you're blowing everyone.
Right.
If they were a great couple, I'd say yeah, maybe. But she blew everyone. You're sorry. Yeah, the girl who blows everyone doesn't get to decide how my kid gets buried. Fuck you.
Unless he's into that, whatever. But if he's not into it, then that's your fucking problem.
That's your problem. January 2016, Tammy pleads guilty in all 3 DUI cases. They lump them all together, as well as 1 count of driving without a license. The court dismisses the lesser charge as part of her guilty plea. Later that month, she uses the N-word on Twitter. Not like this person's a so-and-so.
Right.
She said,
all these
like,
N's?
what's happening, N-word
no.
with an A to her friend.
No.
Just like, what up,
You still don't get to do
so-and-so?
that.
You don't get to do that. There's a huge thing. People are like, fuck you. She's like, he's not even black. Why is that? It's not like I called a black guy this.
Well, that's the point. Neither are you. It's not your word.
Yeah, she said, that's my pet name for him. It's like... He's Latino. He's not even black. That's what she said. It's like, well, you can't.
No.
On Twitter, that just doesn't. It's unbecoming. Let's just say, don't do that. So that's a big issue.
Say that. Call him and say that shit over the phone.
And she'll talk more about that in a minute here. But,
shout it from a moving vehicle. Whose joke is that?
Yeah. I don't know.
Shout it from a moving vehicle like the rest of us.
Yeah. Oh, it's Jim Norton.
That's it.
Yeah. It's just Jim Norton.
So good.
So February 4th, 2016, her book comes out.
Yeah.
It is called, quote, A Star Shattered, The Rise and Fall and Rise of Wrestling Diva.
When are you going to rise
There's no
again,
other. Yeah, I was
sugar?
going to say, when's that last rise? I guess that's the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It's definitely not February of 2016 when she announces that she officially signed with Vivid Entertainment to shoot porn.
Awesome.
Yes.
I'm watching this.
This is not very surprising. At some point, by the way, back in the day there, her and Missy Hyatt, who was a big wrestling valet, kind of did what she did. Basically, she was Tammy before Tammy. In the 80s and early 90s, they did like a website together where they put
just
up
them?
just nude pictures of themselves. It was back when you could have like nude shit that people would actually look for. It didn't have to be like porno, like porn. Now it's people are like, I'm not paying for that. There's no fucking. I won't even pay for porn. God damn it, I'm not paying for that.
I guess there's people that pay for porn, so that's
God.
crazy.
So February 16th, 2016, her porn comes out. It is called Sunny Side Up.
Oh, boy.
Obviously. The tagline, this is on IMDb, by the way, because, they put porn on there now, too. The tagline for it, and this is just because there's no other description. The description is, I've been waiting to read this to you because I know you and you're going to love it.
Can I guess?
Sure. Please.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's going to be Sonny gets pounded one way or another.
No. It is, quote, Sunny explores her sexuality by trying anal. That's all class. That's rise and fall and rise.
Right.
You're all sticky and smell like poop. Exactly. So...
and that's just your butt.
I found a review of said video where a guy describes what happens here. Apparently in the first scene, she's in a hotel. She's masturbating with a glass dildo, apparently. She's rubbing herself a whole bunch. Basically, she uses a bunch of different positions. She's fingering herself and all sorts of shit like that. You know how that works.
You know how the teaser starts of these first scenes?
Yeah, the second scene, they said she's wearing it. He's disappointed because he says, quote, I'm not sure if you could classify this as a separate scene because it's in the same room and Tammy is wearing the same lingerie, but she has everything back on, so I'll say it's a different scene.
Okay.
Once you put your underwear back on, we're going to call that scene, okay? How about that?
And scene 2. Put that back on.
Yeah, this guy goes down on her and doing a thing. She's in cowgirl here. She's blowing him.
Okay.
She's... moaning a lot, missionary. Oh, there's anal in this one. Oh, boy.
You're not fast-forwarding watching it right now?
I'm fast-forwarding reading. This is the same thing. There's some anal in there. He says, quote, this is amazing. I would have liked to have seen some more positions, but I will let it go because I know she isn't a pro and therefore might not be comfortable in other positions.
Also, I already came. I pressed stop.
He says, quote, doggy is the final position before he pulls out and squirts on her face. I must say I was pretty impressed here, he says.
What, she took it? She took it how you would hope she would take it?
The next scene, there's handcuffs involved. And
she goes again?
There's 3 different scenes, I guess.
Okay.
More facial action there.
She catches it on the face, she takes a shower, and starts anew.
It starts anew. And then let's let this journalist, obviously, because he's clearly a journalist, let's let him tell us how the scene finishes. Quote, the scene then finishes with him dropping a load on her face. Scene. So, journalist right here.
Yeah.
Yes. So, final thoughts and rating. I think it's a solid title that I regard, and I give it 4.25 out of 5 stars.
Wow.
Not bad.
4.25 stars. Who are you, fucking Ed McMahon?
I was going to say, not bad at all. I bet her dad's not happy with it now.
If he was disappointed after 7 arrests.
He's mad. Damian Darling, the goddamn Candido family, the fucking WWE wasting all his rehab money and everything else. I feel bad for all these people, Jimmy. I really do. But not nearly as bad as I feel for. There's no Tammy Sytches out there.
No.
But I did find a shitload of Tammy Lynn's.
Okay.
And the worst one of all, if you search Tammy Sytch LinkedIn, her name, Tammy Sytch LinkedIn, the first thing that comes up, not on LinkedIn, on Google, is Tammy Lynn, who is that's her middle name, Tammy Lynn Sytch. Tammy Lynn, who's the publicist owner of Spotlight PR Company.
Oh, no.
And she is I'm sorry, I don't know if I'd hire that person because your PR is shit, because when you search fucking... Oh my God, this other name of a criminal on LinkedIn, you are the first thing that comes up, and your name is the same. Not great. Not great.
You can't even make your name not appear with somebody that's a criminal
You're bad
and
at PR
porn
for
star.
You're bad at PR for yourself.
Right.
Wow.
I'm blown away
Unbelievable.
that a man tugged to a porno and then had the wherewithal to rate it. I'm blown away by comments.
He took
on a porn,
full notes. Those were huge paragraphs. I had to sift through them. It was insane.
That's ridiculous.
So court, August 18th, 2006, a Judge Matika sentences Tammy to 97 days in prison and then gives her credit for 95 days in rehab. The final 60 days of that rehab were paid for by the WWE, which had reversed a previous stance because WWE at one point said they were cutting her off from assistance, and then they got a bunch of bad publicity for it, and then they said, okay, fine, we'll pay for your assistance, because she kept getting arrested, and they're like, how come the WWE's not stepping in? She...
they should definitely get our new GPS, too.
Yeah. Yeah, no shit. She's also given credit for 2 days spent in jail there. So she's sentenced at this point, so no jail. She's sentenced to 5 years of probation with required biweekly alcohol testing, as well as 125 hours of community service and fines of $2,100. And then she's released without spending a day in jail. Wow. But warned by the judge that if she got in any trouble during her 5-year probation, there would be consequences. God damn it.
Yeah.
Shake my finger at you, young lady.
I swear.
I swear. Why did she plead guilty? She said she agreed to plead guilty because she was, quote, blackout drunk during what she termed to be the worst relapse of her life. She said she couldn't remember anything from the arrests. She couldn't testify in court about what happened, and knowing because she couldn't remember, and she knew that the police had video footage of her all fucked up.
That's awesome.
That's a bad trial for you. I don't remember. Well, here's you stumbling around. Maybe that's why you don't remember. Okay, guilty. She said the decision to plead guilty was part of an agreement, obviously. She praised the judge for being so lenient and allowing her to do the time in rehab as opposed to just jail time. Now, September 5th, 2016, she's arrested again. She's arrested, pleads guilty in this case here to driving without a license, driving an unregistered vehicle, operating a vehicle without required financial responsibility, no insurance, displaying a plate card in an improper vehicle, license plate displayed on a car that it doesn't belong to, which is definitely a fucking crime, operating a vehicle without valid inspection, driving without evidence of an emission inspection, all this shit, okay? She's charged also at this point with receiving stolen property by the Lehigh Township Police. I think that's something to do with the license plate. Okay. She is also, this whole thing, she's fined $1,496.45 as a part of an agreement that saw the prosecutors drop the receiving stolen property charge against her, and instead they opt for a charge of fraudulent use or removal of unregistered license plates. Okay. So she just put bullshit license plates on her car and fucking drove it down the street.
Idiot.
Like an idiot. September 12th, 2016, she is rushed from her home in Pennsylvania, in Palmerton, Pennsylvania, to the hospital. She is charged with possession of alcohol as well as being under the influence of alcohol, both of which, they violate her zero tolerance of her probation.
Right.
She says on Facebook that the hospitalization was related to her pancreas, not her booziest. Wow. She said she's had pancreatitis in the past brought on by her heavy drinking, which nearly has led to her death in the past. In her book, she said that she'd been warned by doctors that if she didn't stop, she would die.
Yeah.
So what does she do? Keep fucking drinking. Yeah. September 20th, 2016, 8 days later, she's released from the hospital. September 23rd, she's brought right back to the hospital.
Really?
Authorities are called to her home. Court records say that she was charged with being under the influence. This is a third violation of the zero tolerance. Okay. At what point to how many violations of a zero tolerance policy do you have to have before it's not a fucking policy anymore? Right. It's just horseshit.
It's already not a policy.
Yeah. She's taken into custody and transported directly to the Carbon County Correctional Facility. This is 6 weeks. This is less than 6 weeks after the probation began.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. This point here, she remains incarcerated for 5 months.
Whoa.
5 months. This is different. Paroled in February of 2017, and she agrees to go to a WWE-sponsored rehab. When she's released, the court orders her to report directly to an inpatient drug rehab that WWE will pay for, like we said. She also has to perform an additional 75 hours of community service, so now it's 200. She was informed that she will have a zero tolerance threshold, for possession, control, and consumption of alcoholic beverages or non-prescribed medication, and also zero tolerance for any missed urine screens without a legitimate excuse.
Unbelievable. She's not even allowed to own booze.
No, not allowed to own it, or give it to someone, hand me that drink over there.
Nothing.
Pick me up a six-pack at the store.
Can you put these in the fridge for me?
No, I actually
absolutely
can't.
Not.
I actually can't. So, as a matter of fact, no, it's not going to happen. So, January 2017, she pleads guilty to driving without a license, driving an unregistered vehicle, operating without that whole list, no insurance, the license plate thing. She enters a plea during her arraignment there. As part of the deal, the charges of receiving the other one, the stolen property deal. 2017, she's doing webcam shit.
Oh, no.
She's fingering herself on the internet and arguing with trolls and calling you fucking assholes. Why the fuck are so many people watching if nobody gives a fuck? And how dare you, motherfuckers? And she's like naked, arguing with people. She's like naked, angry, talking shit to people while she's trying to be like, I'm sexy, right?
In her 40s.
Yeah, it's super fucking weird. Yeah, at 45 years old. It's fucking strange, man. It's just very strange.
The wrong side of 40, and she's yelling at people online with her pussy out.
It's so weird. It's a really weird thing. She brags about it on social media.
Wow.
It's like, I had my pussy out and this guy said the wrong thing, so I told him what the fuck was up. Who's he think he? And by the way, she has quotes about it too.
Really?
We'll get to it.
Oh my God.
She is taken aback by. She is.
This is awesome.
July.
Can you imagine if one of our, like a football player, if a football player falls so far that he's online with his dick in his hand?
Go, hey man, fuck you. Yeah, I dropped that ball in the 89 playoffs, motherfucker, so what?
As he's still stroking.
Everybody's still horny? All right.
I'm about to come.
I'm going to come now. It's going to be the end of the show. All right.
Where do you want me to put it? On my championship ring? All right, here we go. Ready?
Here we go. July 2017.
Unbelievable.
Oh, that's awesome.
What a scene.
What a fucking scene right there. What a mess. So the first week of July 2017, she is hospitalized twice in the same week.
Yeah.
Same shit. She's checked out and then checked in again 2 days later. She wrote on Facebook that she passed out and fell and posted photos showing various bruises all over her and blood in her hair and shit like that. She wrote on Twitter that she was having a horrible fucking day. And then on her Facebook page, she wrote about... just this whole thing. This is
awesome. You probably saw this on Twitter and you're like, oh, how bad was that day? Go to Facebook.
No, you know
Tell
me
me more, Tammy.
So then she explains just about her dating problems and everything else now on Facebook. She says, quote, why is it that when I meet a normal guy and we're getting along great, he disappears all of a sudden with no warning? He must find out what I do for a living, and that's just so judgmental and sucky. Fuck you then. I don't need you. So just go. So just now on my way to the gym, I stopped for a sandwich because I'm starving. Some guy who recognized me took it upon himself to sit down at my table, start talking to me, and long story short, offered me money for sex. When will you assholes realize I'm not a fucking escort or a hooker? Fuck you all. If you just log on to my site and give me money there, I'll finger myself for you there. But not with you in the room. That is where I draw the line. I'm not a hooker. I am a no.
I'm a respected sex worker.
I'm a respected sex worker who yells at people while she's got 2 fingers in her. So
this is fucking amazing.
She offers at this point Skype shows to her followers for a fee, obviously.
Of course.
Wow. So on Monday, June 26th of that year, by the way, she posted on her Facebook. She was in the hospital then, and posted, "Who is near Stony Brook who can come sign me out, get me out of here now." No one cares about me.
Begging Facebook followers
to come get me out of the hospital.
Fucking loon bin.
This has gotten bad. What most downloaded person into wow.
Best buns.
Fuck, man. Shit has wow.
Holy fuck, this is amazing.
Best buns.
This is
to
the best
craziest
story
buns.
yet.
Fuck, man. So now she's not happy with the WWE after this. She says that her rehab, WWE sponsored rehab, was only done to make Linda McMahon look good in her failed Senate bid in 2016. But once the race was over, she was transferred to rehab in less than stellar conditions. She says that they moved her to a cheaper facility in an effort to slash costs. The first treatment center cost them about $1,000 a day, but the one she was put in after the election was about 90% cheaper, she says. She said that WWE helped her get released from jail and into the first treatment center. Shortly after that, after she lost the election, she said that she was transferred from the posh facility into a cheaper center.
Okay.
Yes.
You're still in a center offering you free help.
Yeah, well, she then said she had horrors that she endured at the center. She said she was made to wash dishes nonstop for 17 hours a day for a whole week and had a glass thrown at her face by another patient.
Okay.
When she complained to someone at WWE about the appalling conditions, hoping to be put into a better establishment, they brought up how they had spent well over 6 figures to get Scott Hall out of rehab 12 times, by the way. Apparently, they told her on the phone, quote, "Well, you're not Scott Hall."
Oh.
So, yeah.
Also, how many dishes do they have? 17 hours of dishes?
Non-stop dishes.
It.
What are they, just bringing out saucers?
Right.
We brought your dinner out. Instead of 1 plate, we brought it in 9 saucers. We thought you'd like it better that way.
Where they like take the dishes she just washed and just like throw shit on them and then put them back up there?
Put them right back in there.
What's she talking about? No, there's not that many people in these places that there's 17 hours a day.
No shit.
It's bananas.
So this, though, we'll talk about Vince McMahon privately told congressional investigators in 2007 about this. He said, quote, 2 words, public relations. Yeah. That's it. I do not feel any sense of responsibility for anyone or whatever their age is who has passed along these bad habits or overdoses for drugs. Sorry, I don't feel any responsibility for that. Nonetheless, that's why we're sending the letter. It's a magnanimous gesture.
You're a cunt, sir.
You are a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Especially.
Oh boy!
Now is different because now they do take a lot better care of these guys because they fucking have to because it's all under a microscope.
Well, now when did he say that?
He said this in 2007.
That's not that long
ago. And
ago.
he's talking about guys that were in the 80s and 90s when these guys were on the road 300 plus days a fucking year.
Feels no responsibility.
And he's telling them shit like, "I'd like to see your arms a little bigger," and shit like that. Like in other words, "I'd like you to take some steroids now," and shit like that. And if you don't show up, you don't get paid, and we really need you for that 82nd straight day.
Right.
So you take some fucking pills for that shit. We've gone over the whole thing with Jake the Snake, and now this asshole's going to say that. That's
unbelievable.
You silver-haired cocksucker.
Truly.
He is silver-haired, middle-aged white man number 1, Vince McMahon. He really is. He really fucking is. I have a feeling we won't be getting any public social media love from our WWE friend that we have. He's going to have to hide his love for us now, I feel like. So,
both of them,
yeah. So,
we don't say your names.
No.
We love you.
No, we never do that shit. We're down, dude. It's all good. We got you. August 22nd, 2017, a petition is filed before the court requesting that the judge revoke her parole.
Yeah.
Bench warrant is issued for her arrest the following day. They're unable to serve the warrant, though. They can't find her in Pennsylvania, even though she's been making independent bookings, wrestling bookings, signing appearances all over the U.S.
They can't find her.
And they can't find her. So September 2017, what else is there to do when you're at rock bottom? You have no place else to go. And this isn't get married either, Jimmy. You have rock bottom. You have no place, worse than the church.
Oh, boy.
You start a podcast.
Oh, my God.
She announces on Twitter.
Has a podcast.
She's starting I don't think it actually happened anymore, but she announced September 2017, recording my podcast today. So, she's got a lot to talk about.
I feel like that got interrupted when a fifth of Bacardi showed up.
I would imagine so. Never mind. Cancel that.
She flipped all the power on, checked the mic.
Yep.
And then somebody knocks on the door. Hey, I got a pint for you. Oh, never mind.
Oh, wow.
Turn this shit off.
See ya. January 23rd.
She had a story to tell.
She definitely had a story to tell. January 23rd, 2018, DUI again. Arrested for a fucking another DUI.
Oh, boy.
It's 8:53 p.m. That happens. That's January 23rd. February 2nd, she crashes her car at 8:52 a.m. and is charged with fleeing the scene of an accident. And when they caught up to her, they also found out she was drunk, too, and they charged her with DUI. It's a DUI and leaving the scene of an accident here.
No excuse. Uber is so much cheaper.
So much cheaper. Maybe not for her.
Good point.
Some point in the last 2 years, she posted a pic of her on her phone that she fucked Dolph Ziggler, the wrestler and now comedian, and a picture of him in bed.
Oh, no.
Saying that she fucked him, and she said she fucked him, and then he finally said, yeah, I did fuck her.
Oh, Dolph, what'd you do?
It definitely happened. It definitely happened.
What the fuck?
She said, we have a quote about her. She said, quote, and it was literally like a marathon, just 7 hours of insanity. I lost 9 extensions out of my hair. Jesus. Hair was being thrown in every which way. There was like hair extensions laid out all over the place. It was 7 hours. It was pretty insane. So then I just had to go. I had a 9:30 flight, and I didn't get any sleep, so I just took a shower, packed my bags, and told him, you're tired. You have a concussion. Just stay here and get some rest. So that's when he fell asleep. I took the picture, and then I went to the airport.
Wow.
And so she posted that on social media, which a lot of people had a problem with. It was like, hey, motherfucker, don't do that. Don't blow up people's spots.
Amy Schumer dated him, and she publicly said that she stopped dating him because the sex was way too rough.
Well, apparently that's the truth. Knock your hair extensions out.
9 of them.
How hard do you have to fuck someone to make a hair extension pop out of their head? I mean, pop right out.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking he was pulling.
No.
That was just, they were boink, boink, jumping
9
out.
hours of doggy, and they're
bing,
just banging.
bing, bing, leaping out of her hair, running for fear of the.
You know when your hair on your neck stands up when you're nervous or scared or excited. Yeah. That's what happens to your extensions when you fuck Dolph Ziggler.
That's what happens. God damn. Jesus. March 1st, 2018, she's arrested on fugitive warrants for failure to appear in court. Initial charge here, it's in Aberdeen Township, failure to appear, and in Knowlton Township, failure to appear. Mm-hmm. She was held for the fugitive warrant here. The Aberdeen, New Jersey Police Department took her into custody, and then they were going to extradite her ass out to Pennsylvania, which they did. March 31st, they had a hearing on the requested revocation of her parole in Carbon County Court. Here, she is processed. It's contempt, disobedience, and resisting arrest in New Jersey. That's what she was arrested for to get to here.
Is she still? Is she overweight still? Is that what's going on?
I don't think so.
Okay, she lost it all.
I'm not sure right this minute because I feel like I'm not sure.
I'm just wondering if because Dolph banged Amy. Is he into bigger girls? Is that his thing?
Blonde girls. He's got a type. So just a blonde and a certain age, I guess.
20 extra pounds on him.
He's
into it.
Probably younger than Amy. She's older than Amy Schumer. Yeah.
Oh, way older.
Yeah. So a bench warrant was issued for her arrest, and they found out that she was a fugitive from Pennsylvania. So they ship her ass over there. And right now she is awaiting court proceedings for that. I think she has I think it's July. Yeah. She has another hearing, or the beginning of August. So she's still in the air. She might end up in prison. She's facing 5 years, I believe, in prison.
And she's in the wind right now.
She's in the wind. She's in the system right now.
Boy.
She's out there. So we'll see what happens. This is going to be an ongoing story. We'll be updating you on it. But it's a crazy one, a wild-ass story.
Boy.
Can't get enough of Sunny Tammy Sytch. Well, let's see here. You can check her out at, she's got a Boobpedia page.
A what?
It's Boobpedia.
Who did that?
It is Wikipedia, but instead of the picture being just a regular picture, it's a topless picture.
Okay.
That's exactly on the upper right-hand corner. Everything else is the same. Boobpedia.
Stupid.
Stupid.
And somebody's making money off that.
Yeah.
And we're calling them stupid.
There is a change.org petition to remove her from the WWE Hall of Fame. Calm the fuck down.
Ridiculous.
First of all, there is a lot better shit to petition for.
Yeah.
Let's get teachers paid more. Let's get this. There's a shitload of things we could petition for that are way more important than this. And second of all, do you know some of the people that are in the WWE Hall of Fame? Horrible people.
Yeah.
There are criminals and rapists and fucking horrible people.
Yeah.
Is Snuka in there? I don't think he is, actually.
I'm sure he is.
I think they've kept him out because of the old,
because that old murder
old
thing.
folly, bleedy thing that happened.
Some rumors
that go around of a dead woman.
I'll check if he's in.
Everyone, they're drug addicts. There's a ton of bad people in the WWE Hall of Fame.
WWE Hall of Famer Jimmy
Snuka. There you go. He fucking killed a woman. Episode 5. Go back and look. Jesus Christ Almighty! You want to fuck? Where's your petition for that asshole?
Get that one out.
So their things here is they're just saying that she's been arrested. They have a list of this is why she's been arrested so many. They're saying she's not holding up her end of being like a representative of the company. It's like,
she's
get the
a
fuck
mess.
out
She's
of
a
here.
problem.
She's got problems. Leave her alone. She's fucking. They said talking about all of her arrests. They said she has been involved in numerous other questionable activities, including but not limited to taking photos in bed with fans at conventions and charging $50 to $100 for nude 10-minute Skype chats with fans, encouraging them to do whatever they want.
It's only $50.
$50 to $100. That's for her to be nude and you to jerk off if you want, but her not to touch herself.
I'm in.
Yeah,
I'll pay it.
They're talking about her drug problem. Yeah, like every fucking buddy else in the Hall of Fame. And Shawn Michaels is in there, the worst drug problem of anybody ever. Wow. Also, she's antagonized numerous current and former other female wrestlers also, so you can't have that. She's just been a horrible person. So that's that. Also, more things, all sorts of pics with her and her boobs and signed pictures of her boobs and her in bikinis and all that shit.
Boobs.
She did. Amazon.com, you can get a Sunny figure, which is pretty fucking badass. Sunny figure, it's like $46.98 plus $4.99 shipping. Must be a rare one.
Does it come with a fucking pint of Bacardi?
I believe it comes with a pint of Bacardi and a free half-hour Skype session. I believe it comes with that. And also, finally, Amazon.com, you can get her book, A Star Shattered, The Rise and Fall and Rise of a Wrestling Diva, which I actually paid for.
Really?
I need research, so I had to actually buy this. It's like $9.99 or some shit if you buy it on Kindle. That's what I did. That is Tammy Lynn Sytch, Sunny, whatever the fuck you want to call her, of the WWE. What a goddamn disaster.
Truly.
If you enjoyed that story, please let us know about it by going over to iTunes and giving us 5 stars. Just say you're following instructions, following directions. It really doesn't matter what you say. You can also do even more than that. You can be a producer, which is basically a superstar, a Hall of Famer in our minds, a CIS Hall of Famer you can be, which is way more prestigious than the WWE Hall of Fame. You can do that and get a great shout out from us, and we'll talk about you by going to patreon.com/crimeinsports or heading over to PayPal using our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com. And if you want to get a hold of the show, go ahead and use that email address, or at Crime and Sports on Twitter, at Crime and Sports on Facebook, at Small Town Murder on Instagram. We kind of put up, Small Town Murder on Instagram. We put up shit for both on there. And that's that. And without further ado, we have to get to this list because it's awesome. The list of the most wonderful people ever. Jimmy, I would like a list right now. Thank you.
Executive producers this week are Barbara Lay, Meg Smith, Rachel Flaherty, Lane Andrew Henderson, Clinton Grout, Katie Heisel, Shauna Rogers, it's Barbara. Damn it. Barbara Johnson, Savannah Briand. That's where I knew. I knew
Barbara Johnson's the easiest name you can get. That sounds made up. That sounds like.
Thank you all so much for being above and beyond helpful. You guys are amazing.
Honestly.
Sydney Abraham went and donated on Patreon and on PayPal. And then Dorothea Horn did that. And Stephen Crumley. Thank you guys so much.
We appreciate it so much. Thank you, really.
Jesse Hartman, Ted Cyrus, James Feeder, Shantae Wright, Jessica Schroerhardt, Sridhar. No, I'm never getting that.
Jimmy's tongue came out of his mouth and hung limply for half a second, it gave up.
Carly Conroy, Tom Gallagher, Taylor Cheney, Richard Basantes, Brian Potter, Rosanna Wagner, Nathan Baggett. Yes. No. Nothing. Not going to do it. Paul Roost, thanks, man. I appreciate you, and
Thanks,
we're thinking
Paul.
about your little guy. Luke Rogers, Under the Sea Fabrics, Lisa Coltrane, Connie Young, Araya Strauss, Brett Welch, Michelle Jolly, Jane Richards, Alicia Adams, or Alicia.
We're going to go with Alicia, I'm going to say.
There's a Y in there.
I don't think it's
That's
Alicia.
what I'm telling you.
I don't think it's Alicia. Ooh, she's a pretty little baby. Let's name her Alicia.
That's what it looks like. Reverend Dr. John Kardash. I don't think he's a reverend nor a doctor.
He's a reverend and a doctor.
Right.
My. A lot of titles.
Tara Nance, Shalima Althus, or Althouse. I'm not sure.
Gotta get that guy a law degree. It was Tech Esquire on the end of it, and we'll really fucking do something.
Gracie's mum, Ken Fouts, Sinfully Delightful Clean Eating, Jess Landgren in Australia.
Hey.
Matthew Dietrich also donated on both.
Thanks, man.
Thank you very much, Matthew.
Jesus,
Tabitha
thank you.
Beyer, Andrew Dupuis.
Dubois?
No, it's D-U-P-U-I-S. Dupuis. I think so.
All right, I'll take
Chad Mitchell, Emma Engblom. Okay. It's possible. Jake LeBeer sticking around. Thank you, Jake.
Thanks,
Nikki
man.
Kofil, Denise Bray, Barbara Felker, Mariah Menhir.
Mariah over there in the Netherlands.
That's the one.
Yeah.
You got it.
I got the right country. I saw you blank out going, fuck, is she in Sweden? Where is she?
I always get it wrong.
I only know that because my wife just sent her a T-shirt.
Oh, very
in the
nice.
Netherlands.
There you go.
So, yeah.
That'll make it easier.
Yeah.
Kate Myers, Oliver Thomas, Heather Chamness, Chandel Whitney. She's the one with the daughter that serves. That's,
cool.
I always
Thank
remember
you.
that. Andrea Calkins, Andre Bouchard, Kayla Parker, Emma Chappelle Hedges. That's it. Elizabeth Estabrook, Seth Kuehl, Alicia. No, it's Ashley. Damn it.
You had Alicia on your mind. You can't
Ashley
fault you for
Lewis,
that.
Maggie L., John Leggett. Nope. Moving on. Jennifer Proven, Andrew Ballard, or Ballard? Ballard. No, it's Eric Ballard. I said Andrew, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. Definitely.
I have Andrew
It's a lot
somewhere
more
right
letters.
here. Kelly Green, Becca and Felix. No last name. Mackenzie Bolin, Kyle Anderson, Bumblebutt Podcast. I don't know who I haven't heard
I don't know.
Annie Schock, who sent us the Washington State Penitentiary shirts. Thank you, Annie.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thanks.
Deb O'Donnell, Delissa, Taylor Matthew. That's it. Taylor Matthew, yes. And he's a college dude that listens to the show.
Hey,
Thanks, Taylor.
man.
Corey Preda, M. Turner, Sarah McGreal, Don Wancura, I think.
Wancura.
Right. Carly Edwards, Tess Fahey.
That sounds like some shit a magician says when his thing works. And Wancura, pow!
Or when it doesn't work.
Or when it doesn't work. And he goes, shit. Followed by, God damn it. His wife hears that from the basement all day long. Hey, Wancura, fuck. Never mind.
Tenley Cotton, Zach Oberg. He's the mailman up in, I forget where. He's got a dog named Lundy, and he sends me pictures of people send fucking bees in the mail. Do you know that? Do you know you can do that? That's fucking horrible.
That's insanity,
They need
man.
to stop that.
Yeah,
Stephanie Myers, James Fraker, Barbara John Lay, Barbara and John Lay, I think. No, John Lay was a hyphenated one. That's what it was.
Gotcha.
Anthony Duggan, Melissa Schmaltz, Faye Baby Designs. Not going to say anything about it. I don't know. Faye.
Thank you, Faye Baby
Thank
Designs.
you, Faye Baby Designs. You're terrific. Bear Burns, Lori Pete or Piette. I think it's Pete, right? P-I-E-T-T. I think so.
Yeah. I'm going to double
Walsh,
T.
Kelly Walsh. Yes, you're right. Yeah. Laura Shanoski, Cynthia Munford. There's too many N's. There's only
M's
two of
and
them.
N's. It's too much.
Christine Sandburn.
You broke Jimmy.
Lily Harley, Aislinn Dennis, Daphne Hedger, and then home stretch. Heather Walter, Bill Szynski. Yes. Szynski?
I thought you were going to say Suzuki for a second.
That's what
it looked like it was coming out of your mouth.
My brain was pushing
it.
Caleb Crowley, Casey Lane, Nicole Wilson, Rihanna Harmer, Trini Martinez, Jessica Morgan, Chris Bakey or Back, Zach Cornell, Amanda Turner, and Chrissy Ann Castaldi. You guys are fucking amazing.
You guys
Thank you so much.
are the shit. Thank you, everybody, so much. Truly, you really do. And we'll have more behind-the-scenes information in the coming weeks, but you really do keep this this thing going along.
It's great.
So thank you so much for everything you do for us. We really, really appreciate it so much, and we love doing this, and this was a lot of fun. How crazy was this today? And so
fucking intense.
We hope you had as much fun. And what if someone wanted to tell you how much fun they had, Jimmy? How can they do that?
You can find me at Wisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. Let me know how many extensions you lose.
Yeah, definitely. That's the sign
I'm
of
blown away by that.
How good was the sex? How many extensions came out? That's like the. You can get a hold of me at Jimmy P is funny, or just copy and paste my last name. Don't be a hero and try to spell it because you're gonna fuck it up. That said, guys, we will be back always because this is a lot of fun, and we can't wait to come back next week live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this white Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.